Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the STIHL Timbersports Arena here in Malvern. My name is Alex. I'm your host and MC for this afternoon's Pro Great British Championships. On this stage, are we doing well? Let's try again. Are we doing well? Yes, that's the kind of voices we need to get behind our top British male athletes as they go hammer and tongs with our timber sports disciplines. You are going to see high-octane, white-knuckle action with chainsaws, axes and saws on this very stage for the next couple of hours. So grab a seat and hang tight for some of the top athletes in Great Britain on this stage. We've got loads coming up, and we need to oversee this event by some true professionals, a man whose history in timber sports is as long and as illustrious as you can imagine. I'm delighted to welcome to our stage our global sports director. I'm so glad to see him back, Mr. Spike Milton. Give it up, please. Spike, wonderful to see you. Great to have you back. All the very best. What can we expect in competition today?
Well, you're going to expect absolutely everything. You've got the top professionals here from around the UK. You know, they've all been training hard and they've got their goals set. They've done their homework. So let's see a really good competition here, and may the best man win.
Let's rock and roll. Thank you so much, Spike. And we need the judges to preside over proceedings. And we welcome now onto the stage our top officials, Bart Jansen and Andy Hall. So Bart will be giving nothing away, hence why he's wearing his sunglasses, and Andy will be making sure all cuts are good and everything is prim and proper today. And we also say a big hello out in our truck to our video judge, Jules Jansen, and his team, who will be conducting video replay split-second times and just generally checking everything is tickety-boo and up to scratch. So there they are in the truck, keeping out of the famous British sunshine this afternoon. Now, without further ado, we need some athletes to get this show underway. So we now welcome our top male contenders onto this stage. Please give it up for our first athletes, Mr. Medwin Jones. Medwin got through qualifying yesterday and made it onto this stage for our Pro Championships, and he'll be standing alongside Harry Trotman. Okay, also came through qualifying yesterday, it's Mr. Andrew Gosling. And again, another qualification contender for today. He's got some in the tank. I know this guy has got loads to show you. It's Mr. Joe Groom. A superb showing in yesterday's qualification to make it onto this stage today. Please welcome from Cheshire, John Chunstall. And next up, he was top of the podium in qualifying yesterday. We welcome out the 6'6" Ben Chapman. Okay, we now have the next athlete who's our runner-up in 2019. He is a legend of timber sports. Johnny Be Good, it's Johnny Lewis. Next up, a current member of Team GB, it is the one and only George Spencer. And another one of George's Team GB colleagues all the way from Bonnie, Scotland. Please welcome onto our stage, Graham Turner. Okay, our next athlete is the Great British record holder in the single buck saw discipline. It is Tom Redman. And coming back to our Great British stage with a point to prove, our former British champ, Mr. Robert Chatley. And the last remaining athlete to introduce you to today is our two-time consecutive British champion, Mr. Glen Penlington. So these are your athletes. The competition's just about ready to go. The axes are primed, the chainsaws are being cranked up, but one man we need to bring life, bring colour, bring the expert commentary to our events is the one and only Troy Mannering. Welcome, Troy, to Great Britain, all the way from Canada via Munich. How are you doing, Troy?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much, Alex. And we're also going to welcome our live audience that are watching from around the world. Welcome to the show today. We're looking forward to a fantastic event with the best British athletes here at our British Pro Championship in the individual disciplines. We'll see 6 disciplines contested here today. We're going to tell you all about them as we go along first. But let's get this show on the road here and start with our competition format.
The STIHL Timbersports individual competition. In the first round, all athletes compete in 3 disciplines: the underhand chop, the stock saw, and the standing block chop. The times achieved will be converted into points upon completion of each discipline. In round 1, a difference of 1 point applies in each discipline, thus the fastest athlete receives 12 points and the slowest only 1 point. Any rule infraction will result in a disqualification and the athlete will receive 0 points for that discipline. At the end of the first round, the athletes with the lowest scores are eliminated. Only 8 athletes make it to the second round. In this second round, the remaining athletes compete in the single buck and the springboard for increased scores. With 2 points difference between placings, the fastest athlete now receives 16 points and the slowest receives 2. The 2 athletes with the lowest total points are eliminated at the end of round 2. Only the top 6 reach the third round. In the third round, anything is still possible in the hot saw, as an increased score interval of 3 points applies in this final round. The fastest athlete can score up to 18 points at the hot saw, the slowest only 3 points. The athlete who manages to achieve the highest total score across all 3 rounds is the new champion.
Okay, everybody, it's great to be back here. I don't feel like, Troy, the British summertime starts till we get our British Championships underway. And we're going to get the sports going right now. What's the first discipline that we have in store?
First discipline is underhand chop, and let's take a look at the tool and discipline of what's coming up right now.
The axes used in timber sports definitely can't be bought at your local hardware store. Made from special steel, the blade is hand sanded with an angle of 13 to 16 degrees. It's custom built and carefully adjusted for each competition. The weight is around 3 kilos and it's about 80 centimeters long. The blade is so sharp that you could shave with it. Underhand chop. In the past, the underhand chop technique was used to split logs. Standing on a horizontally anchored block, the athletes cut through a 32-centimeter log. The block has to be worked from both sides.
Okay, let's take a look at our start list for this first discipline, the underhand chop. And our top Great British male athletes are ready to start. Here we go with our start list. Onto the stage, we will have initially John Tunstall and Ben Chapman. We will also have John Lewis, Andrew Gosling, Medwin Jones, Harry Trotman, George Spencer, Graham Turner, Joe Groom, Tom Redmond, and then finally Glen Penlington and Robert Chatley.
We should point out here that this is not a knockout system. It is about getting the fastest time possible in each of these individual disciplines, although you will see 2 athletes on stage at the same time. They're trying to get the fastest time possible. Like you saw earlier on in the competition format clip, it's about seeing how many points you can get in each of these disciplines as our 2 athletes come out on stage now. And on the left-hand side of our stage, on station 1, it's going to be John Tunstall, and the not 6'3", the actually 6'6", Ben Chapman, on the right-hand side of the stage.
Okay, gentlemen, athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, great start by both of these guys. Both Ben and John working hard on the first side of this block, and you can see some nice chips starting to fly off This is what they want to have. They want to have these nice, accurate drivers. There's John, that's Ben on the closer side of the camera now. And you see those big chips flying out of there. We want to make sure those chips get out and away from the block so they have room to drive in those axes and get nice, clean cuts. So the question is, who's going to switch over to the other side first? A little bit of a sticky axe there for Ben. He gets it out and moves over to the other side. One driver ahead of John. So the adrenaline is starting to pump for these guys here. Already a couple of hits into the second side and some chips are flying out there. Like to see those pieces coming off of that block. That is a very nice starting cut there by Ben Chapman, by the way. Very clean on both sides. He's got a little bit of a more open face on the second side. Question is, who's going to get through this block first? It's looking wiggly and waggly for John Tunstall, and he gets it in 53.58. Very nice cut there. Second side is done for Ben Chapman in 58.86. Both of them logging personal bests here. Good job. All right, looks like we have a review on stand number 2 and a flag on the play, so we'll have a quick look at that, and it almost looks like a cut foothold. That would be a devastating situation for Ben Chapman. So Andy Hall and Bart Janssen conferring on it, and we'll get the final call into decision zone at stage front.
Okay, so we have a disqualification here for a cut foothold. However, this cut is good.
It's great news for John Tunstall. Commiserations there to Ben, but we can see just there, Troy, why John cites this as his favourite discipline, the underhand chop.
Yeah, he's really good. We talked with John a lot earlier on, and he loves the chopping disciplines, and particularly the underhand chop. And you know, he did a great job here. He was quick through on the first side, and then switched over to the other side, about 1.5, 2 strokes behind Ben, in fact, but was quick on the second side. As you can see here in the replay, they had some really nice cuts, big chips flying out. That's a beautiful set of cuts right there on one side. It's nice and clean. The other side had a little bit of steppy in it, but that's okay. You know, these guys are still cutting their teeth in the pro ranks, and it's nice to see them getting out there and doing well. Unfortunately for Ben Chapman, one of the rules is that you cannot cut the foothold, so that's a safety aspect, and he did actually cut into the foothold, which meant that's the disqualification here, and no points for this discipline, unfortunately.
Okay, we welcome our next 2 athletes onto the stage. We have Johnny Lewis, we're expecting a rapid time. His PB is 24.12, alongside Andrew Gosling.
Okay, gentlemen, athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Great start by Jumpin' Johnny. 2 quick drivers into that right side, and he moves over to the left side, and he is going at it fast with that axe. Holy smokes, folks. Look at the speed. He isn't even standing up. He is just hammering away. Andrew Gosling, no relation to Ryan Gosling, but he'll sign autographs that way if you want him to. And Andrew looking good, but he's still on his first side. Meanwhile, John Lewis has moved over to the second side, and he is really going through this block. The wood's looking pretty good right now for him, and he should be through fairly quickly here. Oh, a bit of a sticky axe, so as Andrew moves over to the second side of his block, he's looking clean, and John is through in a time of 35.68. Fantastic run for Big John Lewis. Andrew Gosling still looking to try and get through there. Couple of pieces still hanging on for dear life, as he looks like he's pretty close to breaking that, and he should have it there in a time of 52.03. So by virtue of that time, he moves just ahead of John Tunstall with a 52.03 in second place right now. So down to the decision zone with Andy Hall.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Very good start by John Lewis. He's motivated this year. I talked to him earlier, and he's like, yeah, I really want it.
Yeah, he shaved so much off his time from last year, Troy. It was a time of 58.91. He's taken over 20 seconds off that. Amazing work from Johnny. You can just see the power in this man on the replays now. And I'd say Andrew Gosling, he got some sticky wood there on the back end, Troy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's a very, very good chopper. We saw that earlier on in the qualification yesterday, and he did a great job here. He got under a minute through that block, so a good job by Andrew Gosling. And right here, I think he probably could have stepped down after that, but he did one more driver, could have been a little faster with respect to that, but he wanted to make sure that he was clean through, and that's very important. If you don't clean through that block, it counts as a DQ, and they don't want that. That's the last thing you want to have here is a DQ.
Yeah, every second counts, every split second counts in these events. The next athletes are primed and ready to go. We welcome out now Medwin Jones and Harry Trotman.
Before that, we're going to talk really quickly, though, about how this is the original extreme sport. We'll take a quick look at how this all began and where we're at now.
Expert woodsman who can cut down a tree more easily than most people can chop one up. When it really comes to tackling large lumps, you can't beat the men of the forestry companies.
An axeman's gathering.
This is Thomas losing the ropes to get to it. Look at this, Korek is playing a great game of catch-up.
Okay, Troy, now we can have some athletes. Now we're ready for the next heat. So we've got to clear the stage. It's vitally important everything's sorted out health and safety-wise, and we can bring on our athletes safely. Here we are with Medwin Jones and Harry Trotman.
Two guys that could be more opposite as far as their build. Medwin Jones, powerhouse, very, very strong man, wide back. Not to say that Harry Trotman isn't strong, but he's slender, he's wiry. You can see he's tall, he's got muscle, he's got power. So two different styles of cutting here as far as body shape is concerned. Both excellent choppers. Here we go.
Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Very nice start. These guys are in sync with each other right away. Medwin Jones chipping out some big pieces right off the bat. Harry Trotman doing quite the same there. Those are flying off of both these guys' blocks. Trotman's got a little bit of a faster pace on his drivers. The power coming from Medwin Jones. Looking for the accuracy on these as Medwin slips over to the other side of his block. First two drivers go in there, and Harry Trotman, two drivers behind Medwin now as he slips over to the other side of his block and starts working on the front side facing our live audience here. And there we go. Now the chips are starting to fly as we get to the 40-second mark on both of these ones. Nice wide face for Harry Trotman. A little bit closed on the second side for Medwin Jones. I believe he had a bit of an open face on the first side. Bit of a sticky axe there for him as well, as he is really desperately trying to get through with those last couple of drivers. And Trotman said at 54-52. Medwin Jones steps down, has one more to go, and he's through in 1:00:22. So good heat from Harry Trotman there. Medwin Jones had 3 or 4 drivers that got stuck in there, and they're going to look closely at that block to make sure he is cut through completely, but it looks like he's okay. And Harry Trotman sitting in 4th place, Medwin Jones in 5th at the moment in underhand.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, that's 2 more logged in as our team come on stage to clean up, and we'll take a look back at the slow-mo replays. These guys started in sync with each other. Literally, the first 4 to 5 drivers were absolutely timed perfectly, and then they started to get into their own rhythm. There you can see the wiry frame of Harry Trotman. He's got quick hits, he's got some nice chips flying. There, the second side, the power drivers from Medwin. And that's part of the problem there with Medwin. He had so much power going into a few of those drivers that he really needed to wrench that axe out. And you can see there 2 times, and I believe 3 times here now. And that really caused him a lot of trouble. He could have probably been there through a little bit quicker, but he stepped down, had to step back up, and you could see the log was loose, so it was just a matter of that one last hit to get him out.
Yeah, we move along now and welcome out George Spencer and Graham Turner, both members of Team GB.
Okay, gentlemen, athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, George Spencer getting into it fast. The drivers are coming fast and furious for him. Graham Turner looking to pick up the pace a little bit as he got a couple of sticky axes. George is really working hard at those fast drivers, and it's exciting to watch him get into that block. He's got a closed face at the front or the first side, and the same thing for Graham Turner as they slip over to the second side at the same time. Two really evenly matched guys here, two different styles, as George is going for the faster hits and Graham looking for the more accurate power drivers. It could be a quick heat between these two guys and a battle. We'll see who gets through there first. Both of them really efficient on the cuts here, but it's going to be Graham Turner with a personal best 45.4. Very well done. And George Spencer on that second side. He's got some stickiness going on here. One more driver should do it for him. No, he's got a sticky one again. And some new wood being cut through. And George, unfortunately, he's still under a minute with a 53.97. That's a great time, putting him in 5th place right now in the underhand. But Graham Turner slips up into 2nd place there with a 43.1. Great time and a personal best for him. Great job.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Always great to see personal bests falling and changing. That's a great time from Graham Turner, 40.34, shaving almost 10 seconds off his PB that he set himself.
Yeah, great job. I was really surprised by how quickly George got started with that axe. He was taking that typical Australian style of just hitting really quick, very fast-paced hits, and always can depend on Graham for some really nice, accurate drivers. On that first side, you can see how clean those walls were and the power he has. He just goes right into the block. A couple of sticky ones there for both of these guys, so, you know, they want to get them through as quickly as possible, and Graham did a great job here with a 40.31 after adjustment personal best. So really good job by Graham Turner and George Spencer. A couple of spots on the second side for George where he got that axe a little bit caught in there, but it wasn't too dramatic, and he managed to get it done in the time for him was 53.65. I had to do a quick double check there.
Yeah. Things are heating up nicely, Troy. It's our first discipline of our Great British Male Championships for 2024. And there's some great times being posted already. But you were talking about the wood earlier, Troy, and the wood is the vital component of this whole event, not just the axes and the saws. And the wood each year, it's vital to proceedings.
Yeah, it absolutely is vital. And to tell you more about that, let's check out this premium wood clip.
STIHL Timbersports is an international extreme sports competition series featuring 6 disciplines: 3 chopping and 3 sawing. We have a premier competition, we need premier wood. The biggest challenges that I face as part of my role is to ensure that our competitions are supplied with the highest quality wood.
Each individual tree is examined for its conformation before processing. We need to make it fair for all athletes. So we are selecting different sections of the trees to use for each of our specific disciplines.
Once the trees are felled, extracted and transported to our facilities, we measure, mark and then cut the wood into sized blocks. We then peel the blocks ready for competition. After careful selection, the blocks then leave our yard and are distributed internationally to our STIHL Timbersports competitions.
All right, our next athlete's now from West Sussex, a forestry trainer, Joe Groom, and this is his favourite event, so we're looking for a quick time from Joe. His PB is 41.24, and Tom Redmond from Bear Regis in Dorset. Again, rapid times we've seen in the past from Tom. His PB is 29.14.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, Joe Groom, left-hand side of the stage. Tom Redmond on the right-hand side. Joe opting for the blue-on-blue shoes today instead of the blue-on-white shoes. Those must be his lucky competition day shoes. Both these guys getting into the first side nicely. Tom Redmond, by the way, his personal best time, fantastic, 29.14. Let's see if he can get there today. Joe Groom already onto the second side. You can see why this is one of his favorite disciplines, as he's clearly favoring on this one. And Tom Redmond opts to jump over to the second side. He wants to do some catch-up here to try and get Joe Groom. Big chips flying off of Joe's block. Tom, a little bit of a bouncy one there. And there comes some of the blocks down, and Joe Groom gets it done in a personal best, 38.56. That is destroying his previous personal best. Great job by him. Tom Redmond looking for the opening down there and just struggling to try and find his way through this block. And now it's starting to look like it's wiggling and waggling. Massively sticky there, though, and he goes down in 1:00.48. That's a disappointing run for Tom. You can see him look to the heavens at that one and going, what the heck happened there?
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, times are locked in. John Lewis still with the fastest time in underhand, but Joe Groom with a great 38.34 sits currently in second place, and Graham Turner with a 43.1 personal best is in third place at the moment. So those are our top three with one more heat to go, and that is Glen Penlington and Rob Chatley. But first, taking a look back here at these slow-mo highlights, there you can see Joe Groom just really coming from on high, stretching out that axe way over his head, bit sticky right there on that first side, but he switched over to the second side nicely with a hop. Did that one with a bullet on the second side here. It was a bit troublesome for Tom, who was really struggling to find his way through that block. Joe Groom, meanwhile, sits in second place with a very nice time of 38.34.
All right, this heat is going to be electric. We've got the back-to-back British champ Glen Penlington taking on Rob Chatley, the former champion. He's going to want that crown back. He is a top axeman, and he currently holds the Great British record in the underhand chop with a time of 18.99. Here they are on the stands.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Rob Chatley getting right into it quickly. Glen Penlington as well, both of them with pace, hitting quick and fast and frequently. Chatley and Penlington pushing each other in this one as they go hard at these blocks. Glen Penlington already over onto the second side of his block, about 3 or 4 drivers behind. Rob Chatley switches over. Rob's got some power on the second side, is usually quicker through the second side as well. Glen Penlington looking very good, and that's wiggling, and he's through in 25.99. Great run for Rob Chatley as well with a 28.34, and those two guys move to the top of the leaderboard in positions 1 and 2 respectively. Glen Penlington with the fastest time of the day, and he will take the 12 points away from this discipline with 25.99 seconds. Unofficially, Rob Chatley with a 28.11. We've just gotten the check marks now, so Glen's is now a 25.89. He wins this discipline.
Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, great run by both of these guys, Alex.
Yeah, I think we can see there, Troy, exactly why we're looking at two of our top British athletes right now.
You can see here in the highlights, in these replays, the quick pace at which both these guys were going at that block, but Glen just absolutely frantically at that block. Great job on the second side here by Glen. You could see just one thread holding on, and 1-2 drivers later, Rob Chatley split his block. So a really good heat between these two guys. Very, very well matched up. But again, they are at the top of the leaderboard at the moment in the underhand chop, and that is also where we stand in the overall.
Yeah, let's take a look now how the points have been divided out. 10 points goes to Johnny Lewis in third place, 11 to Rob Chatley, you just saw there on the stage, and rapid time, almost toppling his own personal best. But he'll take all 12 points. Glen Penlington.
All right, so we saw this first heat, or first set of heats in the first discipline of round one. There's 2 more disciplines to go in round one before we pare down our athletes to 8 remaining into round 2, and then we'll reduce them down again for round 3 in our hot saw to 6 remaining athletes. The next discipline coming up is the stock saw, where we'll take a quick look at the tool and discipline for that right now.
The STIHL MS661CM stock saw is used in STIHL Timbersports as the ultimate test of operator skill. Designed for the toughest jobs in forestry, it produces approximately 7.3 horsepower, has a displacement of 91.1 cc, and weighs 7.4 kilograms. To ensure evenly and fairly matched saws, professional STIHL technicians prepare and test the saws before each competition. Stock saw. After the starting shot, the contestants have to cut 2 wooden discs, so-called cookies, within a 10-centimeter mark. 1 downward and 1 upward. The attempt is only valid when both discs have been cut off completely and within the marks.
Okay, folks, this is our start list for the stock saw. We move on through the disciplines. Discipline number 2, and we have Medwin Jones and Rob Chatley going off in Heat 1. Heat 2 will be Tom Redmond and Joe Groom. Harry Trotman and Andrew Gosling will contest Heat 3. John Lewis, John Tunstall, Heat 4. Graham Turner and Glen Penlington in Heat 5. And in Heat 6, we'll have Ben Chapman and George Spencer. This is where things heat up. This is where things get quicker, Troy.
Yeah, they start to get quicker, and this isn't about power now. It's about feel and knowing the tool that's in your hand. These guys don't want to push too hard on that saw as they cut through. They also don't want to not push hard enough, because if you push too hard, you'll stall the chain. If you're not pushing hard enough, you're not cutting efficiently.
So we have Medwin Jones and no rest for the wicked as we bring Rob Chatley straight back out for the stock saw.
These are also hot start, so the saw will be running when they do pick up and make their cuts. You can see them using their wax pens now to mark the blocks, just to make sure that their alignment is proper. So they want to have 2 cookies on the deck that are complete, and no cutouts, no cut lines, and that's the task here today.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your saws. Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Very quick pickup by Rob Chatley. Good start by Medwin Jones as well, leading into that cut. Huge swing on the transfer by Medwin Jones. Rob Chatley looking clean on the upcut. Oh, and he's got a personal best, 10.71. Medwin Jones not too far behind with an 11.83. That was quick. That was quick.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Oh, and it's just been indicated that Rob Chatley's 10.50 is a national record now, so that's great for the day. Good job by Rob Chatley. He's just dropped the national record for Great Britain. You can see on the cuts here, he was very quick to get that saw up. The transition for Rob was really fast, though. Medwin swung that saw a little bit here. You'll see it on this slow-mo replay. Watch the swing of the saw by Medwin. It goes down a little bit farther away, and Rob was a bit more efficient on that transition to the upcut, and you can see right there, that was a beautiful cut by Rob Chatley, and a very good cut by Medwin Jones as well.
I told you, Troy, Rob Chatley's not here to mess about today.
No, not at all.
And it's great to see Medwin back. He's had a big break from timber sports. He had a nasty, nasty shoulder injury, and he's back for the first time in a while today, so great to have Medwin here with us. Now, on Heat 2, we have Tom Redmond and Joe Groom. These guys knocking on the doors of the podium.
Tom Redmond seemed pretty relaxed, giving the camera a grin.
He's always relaxed.
Always.
As is Joe.
He knows what he can do. We've been giving Joe a hard time about his smolder headshot for Timber Sports all weekend long.
Warm up your saws! Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, beautiful start. Oh, it was a quick pickup by Tom Redmond, but he had a little bit of a hiccup at the start of the cut. Joe Groom was very good on that first cut. Transition was beautiful. Tom Redmond struggling a little bit on that second cut on the upcut, and that's a personal best for Joe Groom of 10.97. Fantastic. And a couple of small problems there for Tom. He kind of hovered at the top and then took a little bit of time on the transition at the bottom. We'll have a closer look at that in slow-mo, but so far it looks good for these guys.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Troy, I often hear you say thin to win, thin to win.
Yeah, thin to win. I mean, the idea is to have the thinnest possible cookies. So you can see here, a little bit of a tag at the top by Tom, and that was the problem. And he started to cut a very thin cookie. And the reason is, the thinner it is the less it drags on the saw or squeezes the saw against the main block of wood. So there's a pretty thick cookie by Joe Groom, but he managed to work it well with a 10.80 after adjustment. Look at how thin that first cookie is for Tom. Absolutely beautiful thin, fantastic. Here again, transition, a little bit chunky, had to find his way, overcompensated a bit, a thick cookie, and that's all that slowed him down. The first time he tagged the block, second time he tagged the block, you want to be real clean on those as you transition.
All right, our next two competitors in Heat 3 of the stock saw, Harry Trotman and Andrew Gosling. The tension is building.
The tension is mounting, that's absolutely true. And as we get closer to the end of the first round and start to show who's close to the bubble or will be eliminated, you start to see guys panic a little bit in how they attack these different disciplines.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your saws. Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, Harry Trotman with a quick pickup. Andrew Gosling right there with him. That's a nice cookie there. Transition for Harry is beautiful. Andrew looking for a quick one here, and Harry Trotman's got an 11.28 personal best. That slips him into third place. Andrew Gosling with a 13.81, sitting in fifth right now, so well done for him. But Harry Trotman was fast as lightning, getting that saw up into position. Very nice.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So 11.11 after adjustment, a personal best for Harry Trotman. Excellent job. Look how quick he is here. Bang on. He was in position right away. Andrew, he was good too. He was quick, but Harry was just a little bit faster getting up there. There's that big transition swing for Andrew. And here's a swing again, same one. And that upcut was very clean by Harry Trotman. Yeah, beautiful. So Harry can actually improve that even slightly more, maybe a few tenths of a second with a quicker transition on the upcut.
All right, so we move on to Heat 4. Johnny Lewis and John Tunstall will be on the stand for Heat 4 in the stock saw.
So what you're seeing our judges, Andrew Hall and Bart Janssen, do up there from time to time is they will have a special meter that they will reline the blocks and give the guys their 10 centimeters marking. And you can see that's that thick blue line close to the main stand. And now what you see Johnny Lewis doing is just marking that to make sure that he has his alignment set up. John Tunstall looked great in the underhand chop, wearing those mega safety goggles because he has to wear glasses as well. So those
okay, gentlemen,
he can use with his glasses.
Warm up your swords. Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, wow, great start by both of these guys, really even. John Lewis motivated to take this one down this year, but John Tunstall really quick on the transition and the upcut. He got that saw kind of stuck in there, but that's a personal best 11.45 for John Tunstall and 15.12 for John Lewis. Interesting, interesting. Oh no, Johnny Lewis might be in trouble here. They're discussing what looks like a cutout, but it does appear to be a complete cookie. That final decision will be on the judges, though, that are on stage right now.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So a little bit of sweating there by Johnny Lewis as they investigated his block or his cookie really quickly, but it was found to be fair. So John Lewis and John Tunstall both rocking times there. John with 11.25 time and has him in 4th place right now. John Lewis, at the moment, the slowest time in stock saw, not what he wanted to have today, Alex.
And our athletes here, like every single timber sports discipline, Troy, there's so much going on, there's so much to think about. And stock saw, where you introduce the petrol-powered equipment, you know, it's not just your hand-eye coordination you've got to think about, it's using the chainsaw as well.
Yeah. There you can see, actually, it was John right there trying to find that upcut, and that's what cost him a lot of time because he didn't have a lot of space left, so he really had to be aware of how much material he was cutting there, because if he cuts over the line, that definitely is a DQ, and wow, how close was that?
Yeah, great stuff. Heat 5. We now have Graham Turner and Glen Penlington. Athletes very much chasing down their individual times to get those bumper points on the board, but this will be a matchup not to miss. So there's Glen, our 2-time Great British champ, looking for 3 in a row in 2024, and Graham, he'll be hot on his heels. Graham is no slouch in timber sports terms.
Yeah, we just saw Graham mention to the judges on stage that he felt like that block wasn't straight, so they'll had Dan Jansen come up and re-straighten that thing. They'll remark it, and now Graham will set his markers in place, and that will give an opportunity to Glen to really just take a moment, breathe, do a couple of test lifts before they get going in this heat.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your saws. Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Very quick pickup by both of these guys, pretty evenly matched here. Graham Turner looking like he's got a really nice cut though. Good transition by Glen Penlington on the upcut. And it's gonna be Glen with an 11.23 personal best. Graham Turner with a 12.14, and that puts them in 4th and 7th. Glen Penlington in 4th place with an 11.23. Graham Turner in 7th.
Check. Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, here we go with the slow-mo replays. The start was basically bang on for both of them. Glen was a little bit smoother on the first cut, and the transition to the second cut, there you can see Graham struggling to find that second line a little bit. Glen, beautiful transition, hardly any swing away at all. and he was up through that block in a very respectable 11.04. Personal best, well done by him. Graham Turner in 7th in the stock saw so far, and that has him in 4th place in the overall standings at the moment.
All right, so our final heat in the stock saw sees Ben Chapman top in qualifying yesterday, and George Spencer, who's part of Team GB and been doing his level best to get a place on the podium come the end of this afternoon.
Ben Chapman clearly adept at the stock saw. His personal best 11.23. 3-1, excuse me. George Spencer 10.81. That is fast time. Season's best this year so far has been the 9.87.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your saws. Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, both these guys starting well. Graham looked like, or George, excuse me, looked like he hovered a little bit there. Ben Chapman got in there pretty quick, but oh, that's a good cut by George. He does it, personal best 10.51, and Ben Chapman gets a personal best 11.11. Oh my goodness, what a run that was for those two guys. I love personal best dropping by the wayside. It is fantastic, and you know there's going to be some adjustments here. Yep, George Spencer's adjusted to 10.33.
Okay, gentlemen, both cuts are good.
That puts George Spencer and a new national record. Again, another record goes down as George Spencer takes the British national record and the top of the stock saw leaderboard. Ben Chapman currently in 4th place with a 10.90. Great job, and that is done and dusted for stock saw as we take a look at these slow-mo replays again. That was a very nice casual start almost for Ben Chapman. George leaning into that upcut, very nicely done. You can see the wood whistling out there as they both cut a beautiful chop or a beautiful slice up, and both of them having nice cookies on the deck. So nice times there for George Spencer and Ben Chapman.
Okay, let's take a look at the stock saw rankings and where the points are going to be dished out. So we'll look at the top 3 because that's where the biggest points are going. Joe Groom takes 10 points. Rob Chatley takes 11. He set a national record for a matter of moments.
Yeah.
And then he was usurped by George Spencer with an amazing time. A new national record of 10.33, and all 12 points in this discipline go to George Spencer. Now, how does that affect the overall standings? You'll see a bit of jiggery-pokery there. And looking at the top 3, Joe Groom, who looked so good in qualifying yesterday, he's left enough in the tank so far. He's 3rd place right now, our reigning champ with 20 points. Glen Penlington is in 2nd. And Rob Chatley, he is currently our leader with 22 points. Troy, we've just seen 8 personal bests, 2 national records in the space of about 5 minutes. And I know Great Britain is an up-and-coming nation in timber sports terms, but just the training and the effort that our athletes have clearly put in the past 12 months, is that indicative of where things are going in Great Britain in timber sports terms?
Absolutely, and Great Britain has one of the best club lives for timber sports. They have clubs all over the place. You don't see that in a lot of other places where there are clubs left and right where you can join and you can get into timber sports yourself. So it really bodes well for the British standard of timber sports. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and you'll see that the competitive spirit out there now between all our athletes, because not only is there a place on the podium at stake today, but there's a place at both the individual and the World Championships taking place in Toulouse this November. Let's see what's coming up.
There you have beautiful pictures from our 3 counties fair here in Melbourne. Fantastic weather. Finally, we had some torrential rain downpours earlier on, but the sturdy people here hung out, watched the shows earlier on in the day, and we're enjoying the beautiful weather now for our British Pro Men's Championship here. Next discipline coming up is the standing block chop, and this is where they have to cut through a standing block from the side. Why don't we take a quick look at the tool and discipline, and then we'll get back and talk a little bit more about the athletes coming up here.
Standing block chop. At the standing block chop, the felling of a tree with an axe is simulated. A vertically positioned wooden block with a diameter of 30 centimeters has to be cut through both sides. A powerful and precise swing with the axe is the premise of a good result.
All right, the standing block chop. This is a classic Timber Sports, one of the originals in our events. Now, who's going to be taking part? Let's find out. Heat 1, we'll see Harry Trotman and Andrew Gosling take to the stand. And then we have Med Jones, Ben Chapman, John Tunstall, Joe Groom, George Spencer, Tom Redmond. And then we're into Heat 5 with Johnny Lewis, Glen Penlington. And Heat 6, the finale of this discipline, will be Graham Turner and Rob Chatley. Hotly contested Timber Sports today. It could all change after this standing block chop.
Yeah, this is an important one for these guys as well, because this is the last discipline in round 1, and that means they have to really cash in on some points here if they want to be among the top 8 athletes moving on to round 2 and our single buck and springboard discipline. So they really have to have good cuts, they have to have solid cuts, they have to have quick cuts as we get our first heat locked and loaded.
Yes, here we have Harry Trotman and Andrew Gosling in Heat 1.
Last bits of cleanup duty on stage right now as our 2 athletes will come up on stage shortly. Harry Trotman, and you can see the time differences here between these 2 guys, 1:15.48 and a 58.58. Those times were established in the qualification round yesterday, so they're going to try and improve on those today for sure.
And it just goes to show that, you know, these guys have day jobs. For example, Harry's day job, he grows Christmas trees all year round. And Andrew Gosling is a dairy cow nutritionist, so all sorts of weird and wonderful things going on in their personal lives there. But,
very important to point out here as well, sorry, that our crew that's on stage blowing all of that sawdust and extra bits and pieces off of the stage. It's very important in particular in this discipline because these guys have to have a stable footing on stage in order to cut properly and safely. You don't want to slip as you're going around the block or as you're trying to push off that back foot and have some sawdust or a piece of wood underneath foot. So it's very important, the job that our woodchuck crew does to get that stage cleaned up and ready for these athletes as they come out on stage.
Okay, gentlemen, athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, good start right away. Harry Trotman got a bit of a sticky one on his upstroke. Andrew Gosling looking for some big chips to come out of this block. Harry Trotman wants to get under a minute in this heat here as well and get another personal best for himself. Andrew looking very good as he's aiming to get around to that other side quickly. He switches over and he'll start on side number 2. Harry Trotman needs to get over to that second side fairly soon as well, and he does at the 30-second mark thereabouts. Andrew with a bit of a sticky axe, and you can see some salad there from Harry Trotman. A lot of steps. He's cutting new material, which is taking a lot more time to get through the block. Harry Trotman on side number 2, and there's Andrew Gosling with some big chips falling out. And oh, we're going to have another personal best here. Andrew Gosling with a 44.99. Great job. And Harry now trying to get through there in under a minute. Will he be able to do it? He's got a few more drivers, but he's got some really sticky ones there as he's got to try and dig that axe out afterwards. One more driver. Oh no, it's going to be 2 more here. 3. Oh my goodness. A 103.23. He does get another personal best, so he improves on his previous one of 115.48. And that's always good to see, but it was a couple of drivers there, and he could have been off in under a minute, but it just got a bit sticky for him.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Wonderful start from Andrew Gosling, who is here today after qualification yesterday when there was a bit of a nasty injury to one of our competitors, Gerald Lloyd, who qualified, and then Andrew stepped in, and he's not hanging around. He's smashed his own PB, and we'll see Harry here on screen now. And you talked, Troy, about salad in the wood. What's that all about?
Well, as they're cutting out those wedges, it looks a little bit like a bowl, and sometimes when there's a lot of steps in there, it looks dirty or like it's a bowl filled with salad. It's just my own moniker for what's happening in there. You can see this last driver from Andrew. He really wanted that thing off. And it was the last 3 or 4 from Harry. You could see it almost went there, and then it finally did go off, and he could have probably had it under a minute, but coulda, shoulda, woulda is the way it goes here. And he did beat his personal best, so that's good.
Always love to see a personal best being felled. Now, Heat 2, the standing block chop, Medwin Jones and Ben Chapman. Ben was our top qualifier yesterday. Medwin Jones back after a bit of a hiatus due to injury, so he'll be looking to test that shoulder out right now.
And I believe both of these guys did establish their personal best yesterday as
ready.
well.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right into it. Medwin Jones with that power, really trying to find the line and get those big chips flying off. Again, accuracy is so important here. Ben Chapman, he's got some pace there, and that block is moving under the drive of the 6'6" tall man. There we go. That's some nice clean sides there for Medwin Jones as he hops over to the second side. And Ben Chapman joining him over on the second side as he gets going on side number 2. Ben Chapman opting to look to the audience on his side too. Maybe hoping for some support from our live audience here. And there we go. That that block drops for Medwin Jones at 44.94. That's going to be another personal best. And it's also going to go down as a personal best for Ben Chapman at a 52.91. Our graphics have disappeared from screen. I don't know why, but both of those guys doing great on the standing block here, and both of them dropping some new personal bests. Fantastic.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
And there you see the adjusted times. Medwin Jones with the fastest time so far with a 44.56. Ben Chapman sitting in third in standing block with a 52.65. There's the finishing driver from Medwin, and the last couple of hits here from Ben Chapman. Great job. Always like to see those personal bests fall for these guys. It's fantastic.
100%. Now, I'm hoping this won't be the case, Troy, but there's a clear divide going into the standing block chop where you've got the qualifiers new to the disciplines in a lot of scenarios who've got considerably slower times than our well-versed, experienced top GB athletes, but the gap is narrowing, and we've seen that already.
Yeah, the gap is definitely narrowing, and that's by virtue of having really good wood today. It seems like it's definitely better than what we saw yesterday. Also, the guys training. I mean, they're just fit. They're really good. They've been working with each other. And that's the beautiful thing about timber sports. You're going to see a lot of guys, they talk with each other. They talk with guys from other countries. They go and train with guys from other countries. They train in their clubs locally. So they're always working together to try and improve overall. And that just generally bodes well for the sport of timber sports.
Now we're going to take a look at how the wood is cultivated, is managed, and gets to our stage for competition right now on the screens.
We as STIHL Timbersports pride ourselves that all wood is sustainably grown, harvested and recycled to minimise the overall amount of wood processed. Firstly, this popular wood is grown on certified plantations. Secondly, the white pine for our sawing disciplines is only sourced from certified forest management. After all our STIHL competitions, all the spent wood is collected and recycled right down to the wood chips and sawdust, which, for example, is converted into renewable energy in the form of wood pellets for biomass. We quest to find certified partners. This ensures that all newly planted trees are nurtured and managed, promoting maximum efficiency and sustainability for the future conservation of our valuable forests. Therefore, as you can see, with good harvesting practices and good management with silviculture, the ground is quickly replaced by new trees, or could even be used for arable for farmers and future rotations.
This is heat 3 in the standing block chop. We now have John Tunstall, who's a contract tree climber, instructor and lecturer at his local college in Middlewich in Cheshire, and also the 34-year-old 6'2" forestry and arboriculture trainer Joe Groom. So we've got 2 lecturers on stage now. Hopefully they'll give us a lecture in how to conduct themselves on the standing block chop. Best of luck to both our athletes who are pushing hard for big points.
Yeah, at the moment, Rob Chatley's still in the lead, but he hasn't cut yet on the standing block chop. Andrew Gosling and Medwin Jones have cut, and they're in 2nd and 3rd place at the moment. But Joe Groom, who is sitting in 7th place, is cutting right now. So we'll see how that affects his standings in the overall.
Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
John Tunstall skipped that axe off there really hardcore. There's a bit of a sharp angle going up. You got to be real careful there as he gets back into the flow and the rhythm of it. That top cut for him is beautiful. It's nice and smooth. Meanwhile, on the other side, Joe Groom chipping out some nice pieces here. And you can see from our overhead camera in the dome, it looks really good for both of these guys as John Tunstall's moved over to side number 2. Bit of an advantage for him on that second side now. Joe Groom moved over to the second side now, and he is starting to cut through there as well. Who's going to get through here first? John Tunstall looking very good. Joseph Groom, though, he's got some big stuff to get through and a lot of wood in the way here as he gets a sticky axe. And I don't think it's going to be too long before John Tunstall drops that. We may see a personal best for him here. Oh, my goodness, a come from behind for Joe Groom with a 48.75. And John Tunstall starting to look tired here with those flat cuts. And one more should do it, and a 56.99, so no personal best for him. Unfortunately, I thought he was going to get there. He moved over to that second side real quick, though.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Joe Groom, Troy, is an extremely powerful guy. You see his shoulders so big, so wide, but John's physique is now the up-and-coming look in timber sports. He's a powerful bloke himself. He's what I call Clark Kent of timber sports. He's deceptively powerful, John.
You could see that skip off the block there. The angle was just a little bit too steep as he came up. The idea was good, but the angle was just a bit too much, and that could be a dangerous situation, but he controlled the axe well. Here's Joe on his second side and that last driver. That was a beautiful hit, and he just really didn't want to have that block anywhere near him when he was finished. And then John, last couple of hits there for him. And you could see he's disappointed. He knew he could do a little bit better. Just a couple of small things he's going to have to change there, and he is right there among the best.
All right, heat 4 now. George Spencer, we saw him set the new British national record in the stock saw. He comes to the stand in the standing block chop, and he's up against Tom Redmond.
So this is a good point, a good chance for George to really step up on the standing block chop. He knows he's got Tom Redmond behind him on the other part of the stage, and he knows Tom Redmond's personal best is very good at 25.57. George's personal best is not that far off pace with 33.46, so he'll be using that adrenaline, knowing that Tom's on stage with him, to try and get really fast times here. So let's see how both of these guys do on the blocks today.
Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
And also to add to what you were saying there, Troy, this is George Spencer's favourite event, so he is going to be going for it right now.
Absolutely, and he's got pace on this one as well, but so does Tom Redmond, and both of them looking really good. Tom over to the second side, about one stroke ahead of George Spencer, and Tom is continuing to stay consistently good in the competition. George Spencer right there trying to slab out some big pieces. Tom chipping away nicely. You got to watch those pieces flying like crazy, and it's not going to be far for Tom Redmond. Oh my goodness, a 26 or a 29.68. George with a bit of a sticky one there. He wants one or two more drivers to get that thing off. Will he be able to do it? Oh, it's really hanging on for dear life, and there it goes in a 42.66. So Tom Redmond with a 30.37 after adjustment and a 42.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
For George Spencer, and that means those two guys move to the top of the standing block chop results.
Things are getting quicker, Troy. I mean, even with Tom allowing the fact they could take a little bit more time to take that final cut, and George himself, as we see here, this was a fairly slow time in George Spencer terms.
Absolutely. I mean, you could see he was a little bit disappointed with that. And I think it was by virtue of the last couple of drivers. He had maybe a couple of threads that were just holding on. You can see it right here. He had one more driver in that thing hang on. That was actually Tom's that he just knocked down with one final hit. Sometimes those can be so frustrating because you see it just hanging there, and then, oh, that extra swing takes a second off of your time. And there, George really wanted to have that done. So, I mean, it was a good job by both of these guys. They were cutting well, but it was just a couple of small things that are niggly for these guys that caused them to be a bit slower than they probably could have been.
Yeah, I said earlier, Troy, that the times are narrowing between all our athletes now in this event, and it's making for much more exciting competition. And we've seen Joe Groom in the event, the discipline just before the one we've seen there. He's looking at championship form right now. He's got 9s and 10s on the board, and that's what it's all about, those big chunky scores.
I mean, he's really on point. There's a few guys, though, that are all knocking on the door here, so it's anybody's game still. But remember, we're taking the top 8 guys after this discipline is done into the next round, where we have 2 more disciplines to go, the single buck and then the springboard, before we narrow it down one more time. We should also say thank you to our prime sponsor, STIHL. They're the main guys responsible for this thing here. And we're going to take a quick break and look at some of the products they're offering our general public out there.
Get your garden ready with premium battery tools by STIHL. One battery, many tools. Find your perfect tool at stihl.co.uk.
Okay, we've got 2 more heats to go in our standing block chop.
Yeah, not the single buck.
I had to look at you then, Troy, just to check I wasn't going insane. Okay, so heat 5 of the standing block chop. We'll see Johnny Lewis, who's been going great guns against our current and 2-time back-to-back British champ, Glen Penlington. And you see from the times, again, these guys have got the potential to be extremely, extremely fast.
Yeah, John Lewis was quick in the underhand, our first event, or our first discipline. He got 3rd place there. Stock saw was not so top for John Lewis at a 14.95, so he's got to try and improve here. But if anybody can improve in the discipline, it's this one for John Lewis.
Ready.
Stand to your timber.
Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go!
Good pace by both of these guys here. John's got a lot of experience, but then so does Glen Penlington. And look at those drivers going in nice and smooth, nice and clean, not cutting new wood. Glen is very, very efficient here. John Lewis over to the second side of his block at about the same time as Glen did. And now looking to get through there as quick as possible and get a real nice time for himself. Oh my goodness, Glen Penlington in 25.47. John Lewis passing the 30-second mark here. Should be a few more drivers for the big man to get through, and it looks like it's wiggling now. And there it goes in the 36.83. So that's going to put him in 3rd place in the standing block chop. That's very good for his positioning in the overall standing. But Glen Penlington, the fastest time so far in standing block with a 25.30. Well done.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Brilliant stuff, Troy. Glenn absolutely destroyed that like a piñata at a family party. And the family members that he doesn't like.
I think he thought it was a piñata. Where's the chocolate? Come on, where are my treats? Now he's going to have to wait for the treats at the end of this competition, but both John Lewis and Glen Penlington looking very, very, very good so far. There's still one more heat to go, but at the moment, Glen Penlington with wins in the underhand and the standing block chop, and third or fourth I think he got in the stock saw, is at the lead. George Spencer sitting in second. John Lewis at the moment in fifth place, so he is in good standing to move on to the next round. And here we go with that last driver by Big John as he was trying to put that one out into far left field.
Okay, Scotsman and an Englishman, Graham Turner and Rob Chatley, the final heats in the standing block chop.
Rob Chatley, a legend, 18.56 personal best. Graham Turner a 23.74. If Graham can even come close to that, he'll be among the top 2-3 guys.
Rob Chatley, holder of the British national record in this event. He's the current holder of 2.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, right away into it with some big chips flying for both of these guys, Graham Turner and Rob Chatley. And it's looking very good for Graham on his first side as he has got nice and deep. Rob Chatley a little bit steppy there as he moves over to the second side, a half stroke. Well, no, let's call it a stroke and a half behind Graham Turner. Graham Turner aiming for some good time here. Rob Chatley working that second side like a beast. He's looking like he's close to getting through there as it's wiggling on top. Graham Turner's as well. Oh my goodness, how close was that? 38.7 to 37.6. Wow, those blocks both went down pretty close to exactly at the same time. And that means they'll be 3 and 4 in the standings without any adjustments so far. But those times are so incredibly close together. 37.6 and a 38.7. We'll see what Competition Control Center says after the adjustments are made.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So Graham Turner's was a hair faster than Rob Chatley's after Competition Control Center had their hands on it. It was a 35.7 to a 35.9. Unbelievable finish there. 0.2 of a second difference between them. Both these guys just really motivating each other on stage, I would say. But look how nice and clean those shots are from Graham Turner. A little bit of house cleaning there from Rob Chatley. That one's a bit steppy. He's depending more on power than he is on accuracy. And here, watch this. Bang! Both those blocks down at the same time almost, but Graham just 0.2 of a second faster than Rob.
We know now the margins are so fine between second and fourth place when it comes to the points being distributed. There's a matter of 0.3 seconds, and those points at the end of today could be pivotal in deciding who becomes our great British champion. But let's take a look at where the points are going to be shared out from this discipline, the standing block chop. You'll see there on screen between fourth place Rob Chatley, 30.59. He'll get 9 points, but then Graham Turner, 30.57, gets him 10 points. Second place, Tom Redmond, with a time of 30.37. He will get 11 points. And Glen Penlington's 12 points are added. And in our overall standings, that puts him top with 32. But hot on his heels, former champ, Rob Chatley. And we had a great time from George Spencer. He's got 24 points. And Joe Groom, who's dropped off the form a little bit in that last event, Troy, but he's still well in the mix with 23 points in fourth place.
He is at that. We will lose 4 athletes now off the bottom of this list, so we'll see and say goodbye to Medwin Jones, John Tunstall, Harry Trotman, and Ben Chapman, unfortunately. And then we'll have our 8 guys that are going to be moving on to the next 2 disciplines, which they're setting up for on stage right now, and that's the single buck and then the springboard. Now, the single buck, we'll find out more as we take a look at the tool and discipline for our coming event here.
The 2-meter-long cross-cut saw used for the single buck discipline is made especially for competition. A series of consistently patterned 10-centimeter-long teeth are cut with a laser on one side of the saw and then hand-sharpened. Saw teeth are divided into 2 types, cutters and rakers, just like on the old-school saws. The saw weighs about 5 kilos and its base price starts at around 1,500 euros. Single buck. The single buck is a one-man saw about 2 meters long. With this, the athletes have to cut off a complete disc of a 46-centimeter thick wooden block. The perfect interplay between rhythm and strength is the key to success.
Well, there you see our stage set up ready for our single buck, and here's the lineup.
Yeah, heat 1, we'll see Andrew Gosling, who's made his way into the top 8. Great result so far for Andrew to find himself in this final 8 after qualifying yesterday, after the unfortunate injury of Gerald Lloyd, who we pass on our best regards to. And he'll be going up against Tom Redmond in Heat 1.
And Andrew's absolutely making best of this opportunity. You know, good to be lucky, lucky to be good, and he's doing both in this case, as he will, as you said, be going up against Tom Redmond. National record held by Tom Redmond in the single buck. That says a lot about how well he can move that 2-meter-long crosscut saw through the block. Andrew Gosling's personal best time, 23:74, 34:78. I'm reading the wrong line here. So, you know, he's not far off pace. He's going to put it to the wood, though, today to see if he can improve that a little bit. And the way the guys have been cutting and the adrenaline flowing and the excitement about being in these next rounds is obviously going to play a big role here for him.
And you're looking at the national record holder, Tom Redmond, in this discipline. He said it last year, time of 14.66.
I think we could do it.
There's no reason why not. I mean, Tom is so relaxed, as we've seen. He's always got a very nice smile and a good way about the guy. He's steel focused, though. We'll kick in now as we're into this final 8 athletes with a view to taking on and winning the Great British Championship.
Both the guys using KBT saws.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Tom Redmond, no delay in getting that saw started, and he immediately gets into those long, full-length strokes here, going knuckles to tip. Andrew Gosling a little bit choppier on his movements, though. Tom Redmond super efficient as he gets to the bottom of this cut. He won't have a personal best again here, but that's a great time of 16.85. Andrew Gosling got a little bit sticky about the halfway mark, and you can see he's using about half of the saw, only in about the middle section. Angles change, and that gets hooked up, and that's why they call it the misery whip, because it is miserable to restart once it stops. Andrew coming down to the bottom of his cut now, and oh, another sticky one for him. And it is troublesome at the bottom with a 41.22 for Andrew Gosling, and Tom Redmond at 20.11. I thought it was faster than that, actually. I bet you they'll make some adjustments there.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So Andrew Gosling with a 4.89 and Tom Redmond with official a 20.11. So 20.11 is the time to beat at the moment, as they'll get cleaning up on the stage, and we take a look back at the slow-mo so you can see the angle changes right away from Andrew, and that's really a death sentence for your speed because that saw just stops. And meanwhile, Tom Redmond's so adept with that single saw, and you can see he's just keeping it level and steady movement the whole time, not changing the angle, using the entire length of the saw. And that's the difference between somebody who's got experience with it and somebody who is just cutting their teeth with it, so to say, for lack of a better pun.
So Tom Redmond set a marker there with a time of 20.11. Troy, do you see that being challenged?
Absolutely possible, in particular with John Lewis and Joe Groom, and of course Glenn. There's no two ways about it. Any one of these guys could get out there and challenge that time. But I think John's going to have a very good time here today. And I think Graham may also be a guy that's going to put the wood to a test today as well. So, I mean, you know, you've got 8 guys there that could do some damage to that time. There's no doubt about it. Well, 6 guys now. Not a math guy here, sorry. You can see Graham's personal best in single buck is 16.74, so it's definitely possible. John Lewis is a little bit slower at 21 and change, but if he's motivated, which he is today, and if he wants to make it into the top 6, then he has to be good here. He has to be really good here, in fact. John got himself set and just basically froze in position, ready. Here we go.
Okay, gentlemen, athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, look at that. They're in sync with each other. Both of them sawing very similarly. Graham Turner going for a faster pace on his. John Lewis picking up the pace now as he gets into form here. Both of them keeping that saw moving. Graham Turner looking good. His form is very good as he gets to the bottom of that cut, and he's going to have the fast time of the day, 18:11. John Lewis is not going to beat his fastest time, unfortunately. Oh, he got sticky at the bottom, 26:18. That's a rough cut for John Lewis. He was expecting more out of that one. A small angle change at the bottom stopped that saw dead in its tracks, and he had to restart, and that killed his time. Great time by Graham Turner, though, 17.84, a little bit faster than Tom Redmond by 2.27 seconds. John Lewis sitting in 3rd place right now with a 25.89.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
You can see both of the guys started quite well. Both of them had very similar styles at their start, and right there you can see that saw from John kind of hopping on the backstroke. And then he got into the flow. Meanwhile, Graham just got that saw moving in the flow. Now both of them could have probably been a little bit more efficient in the use of the saw. It's 2 meters long, and they're using about 1.50 meters of it each, right? So, and it was only as they got into the middle of the cuts that you could start to see the entire saw being used here, in particular for Graham at the bottom of his cut. Really nice run for Graham, though, and he has set the pace for the day. And there you can see that angle change. It's a weird phenomenon. You get to the bottom and you think, I'm going to change the angle and try and cut that away a bit quicker, and then it just stops the saw, and that caused problems for John Lewis.
2 more athletes will be quick off the block here, Joe Groom and George Spencer. So expecting big things from both these athletes.
I know that George has been working hard at this discipline. He's got a 20:01 personal best, so you're going to see him try and improve that. And meanwhile, they're out making some quick adjustments to the blocks for our single buck. Dan Jansen, an absolute magician with the saw in hand as he gets a nice clean up on there and making sure that we have a flat front and a fair block for the start here. So heat number 3 coming up between Joe Groom and George Spencer. So it looks like George is going to set up his saw. I have a feeling that George is going to handle in. No, same position as usual. Really important for these guys to set the saw in place straight up and down and straight line. There's not a lot of material left down there. They might need a block change on that side for our last heat between Rob Chatley and Glen Penlington.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Quick start by both of them. Joe Groom. There you go. Misery whip at its best right there.
He's recovered well though, Troy. He's back in business.
Yeah, George Spencer, meanwhile, looking very good as he's just passing the 2/3 mark. He got a little bit sticky as well. You can see the restart was a bit tough for him as he gets to the bottom outside of his personal best time. 23:29 and a 23:73. Close between the two of these guys. No best times for either one of them, but they're going to be in positions 3 and 4 in the single buck standings.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, it's official. The times are set, 23:48 and a 23:06. And that puts George Spencer in 3rd place and Joseph Groom in 4th place in the single buck as we look back at the highlights here. And watch right here what happens. Small angle change by Joseph Groom, and there is that whip action, and he's got to reposition and restart. It was looking pretty good here for George as our camera was following along with each stroke. And about the middle section, he also got a little bit stuck up, had to restart the saw. So both of these guys really solid in the discipline, looking to make improvements, but the improvements weren't there today, unfortunately.
Troy, I think without the wobbles that Joe had and the stickiness that George had, you know, they could have saved themselves 2-3 seconds. That's vital in this.
I'm going to say minimum 2 seconds at least, but the one from Joe was insane. You could see the saw actually bow or whip, which is, like I said, why they call it the misery whip. So, you know, it's one of those situations, a small angle change, and it bites into the wood, and then the whole thing stops, and then you have to reassess and re-pull and restart, and it's just a bear to restart that thing. It's so difficult. Because theoretically speaking, you should be able to move the saw back and forth through the wood with one hand, but you got to be fast, and one hand isn't fast. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, you and I know firsthand about misery whip.
Keeping your lawnmower clean is key to making sure it works efficiently. And we now have a Care and Clean kit that includes everything you need to make cleaning your mower a breeze. The kit includes our effective but gentle cleaning detergent, STIHL Multi-Clean. Multi-Clean is an all-purpose cleaning agent for plastic, metal, rubber and painted surfaces, making it perfect for these mowers. It also includes a wooden-handled bristle brush with a scraper for cleaning the mower unit and a microfiber cloth for thorough but gentle cleaning. To clean the mower unit, simply spray it with STIHL Multi-Clean and leave to work for 5 minutes. Then clean it thoroughly with the brush and remove any residual dirt or cleaner with the damp microfiber cloth. To clean the lawnmower housing or your IMO docking station, just spray STIHL Multi-Clean onto a microfiber cloth and wipe over the surface. Repeat the procedure as needed, then wipe the housing with the damp STIHL microfiber cloth. The STIHL Care and Clean Kit for lawnmowers is the perfect way to keep your lawnmower in tip-top condition.
It's been a great weekend so far here at Malvern and our STIHL Timbersports Arena. The sun has finally made its way out on a Saturday in British summertime.
Sort of, kind of.
Can begin. Never thought we'd be saying that in June. All right, so one thing that is consistent with providing the heat and bringing the heat is the single buck in Heat 4, our two of our top British athletes, former champ Rob Chatley and two-time consecutive British champion Glen Penlington.
And look at their personal best times. So close together, these two gentlemen. And let's see if they can keep that consistency out on stage as our stage crew exits stage left and we get our two athletes out there to set up their saws. So Glen, being the rebel, he'll cut from the inside. Here we go.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Rob Chatley waited, moved slightly, and then got that saw going. And look at this, they're both going at it full bore. Rob Chatley and Glen Penlington meeting the halfway mark here of their cuts. Rob Chatley looked like he might be a hair faster, but got stopped. Glen Penlington gets to the bottom in 16.68, and Rob Chatley tapped out and had to stay in there and cut that last little bit off. That slowed his time down to a 19.36. There you can see the puzzling that Bard Janssen loves so much to do. So just waiting for our athletes to join Andy Hall in the decision zone at the front of the stage. But if everything goes well, that is a personal best for Glen Penlington and the top of the leaderboard.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Rob Chatley, not as fast as he would have liked, but he's still sitting in third place there. Tom Redmond in fourth, George Spencer, Joseph Groom, John Lewis, and Andrew Gosling rounding out the top 8 here as we look back at this heat. You can see both of them getting right into it. You can really see how Glen just leans into those push cuts and Rob just using all of his power to get in there. And small change at the bottom. You can see how thin that cookie is. The problem for Rob when he got to the bottom of his cut, he twisted the saw a little bit. It got bent, it got stuck, it bowed, and then that tab broke off. Luckily, he didn't have to reposition the saw to cut that small tab off, so he got a little bit lucky there, and nevertheless managed to get the third fastest time of the day in single buck.
Okay, where are the points going in the single buck? So 10 points in fourth place went to Tom Redmond. He's our national record holder, but it wasn't good enough for him just today in this discipline. So third place, Rob Chatley. We saw him get a little bit stuck there at the end, and that could have cost him dear. But he still gets 12 points nevertheless. Second place, great run from Graham Turner.
Oh, yeah.
14 points and 16 points. The full fat goes to Glen Penlington, and he is really hitting his stride now.
Yeah, he wants that top spot again.
Okay, so the overall standings cement Glen's position at the top, 48 points. Closely followed in second by Rob Chatley. He has 43 points now. And then it's Graham Turner, currently in third place with 36. Now, Troy, we talked about there, Glen hitting his stride, hitting form at exactly the right time. He is a big game championship player.
Absolutely, and I mean, he is doing everything that he needs to do today to stay atop the leaderboard. He's consistent, he's fast, and he is very, very good. So, I mean, it's still all to play for with the springboard still coming up that they're setting up for on the stage behind us, but he is right there among the best. Speaking of the best, tomorrow we do have the Women's British Championship on this stage here. Let's take a quick preview of what we can expect from these ladies in tomorrow's competition.
I'm really looking forward to the British Championship this year. It was great to win it last year and bring the trophy home. I know it's going to be really difficult this year. I'm not taking anything for granted. The girls have worked so hard at the STIHL training camps. I know it's going to be a tough one, but I'm really going to work hard to try and bring that trophy home.
You are in for a high-octane treat. Chainsaws, axes, it's all going to go off on this stage.
For the first time, we've got a mother and daughter competing against each other in the Women's Championship. Who will earn the bragging rights in the Aerosmith family this year?
Super excited.
All the hard work, all the training, all that matters is this very moment right now.
Unbelievable! Another national record falls by the wayside. That's 2 in a day.
They will be absolutely delighted with that. Superb putting.
In third place, Libby Aerosmith, Martha Paletti, our new champion, Justine Narusa!
It's very overwhelming feeling like when you've been wanting so much and you got it. So probably hasn't kicked in yet. But to come to the top this year and compete alongside all my friends, it's been fantastic. I feel bloody great.
We've just seen some amazing moments there from our second ever Women's Pro Championship in this country, and I'm delighted now to say I'm joined by our current champion, down from the podium for a moment, not covered in champagne. Great to see you, Justine Narusa. Justine, congratulations once again for your title win last year. How's the training been going, and what's the game plan for tomorrow?
Thank you for having me. Obviously, it's a pleasure. Game plan, win it, obviously.
Win it again. And how are you going to go about that? What's the training been like?
Obviously, I'll try my best just to do all the events as I need to. Just keep my head in the game and just do all the events and make my family and friends proud.
Incredible.
Justine, you've had the opportunity to train with all the other ladies that are competing with you tomorrow. You also seen from last year to this year the improvements. Who do you think your biggest competition is going to be?
All of them. All of them. The ladies are, stepping up and, trying to, be on the stage of the Europe and the world. So I'm very proud of. So it can be anyone's game, but, I'm chasing them as well, so.
Well, I mean, you're the one being chased now. So for all of the girls and the ladies that are out there watching, what would you say if they were to ask you, how do I get into this sport? What do I have to do?
Obviously, there is a lot of information out there on the STIHL website. Obviously, it's a good place to reach out in the first place. And obviously, like I think you mentioned there's there's clubs throughout the UK. So obviously, Facebook, internet, and you'll see anything popping out. And obviously, if anything, reach out to me and I can just point in the right direction.
Yeah, because I think with STIHL Timbersports, we know with the men's and yourself with the women's, that you're probably going to get access to high quality training and you're going to be helping out and you all push each other through. It's a real family affair backstage and it's great to see. Listen, we wish you all the very best tomorrow and all our women taking part. So good luck to you all on our third ever Women's Championships on this stage tomorrow.
Bring it on.
Make sure you join us. All right, so we're waiting on the stage up there to be finished setting up. So we're going to keep Justine here for a little bit longer. So Justine has been busy with the women's. Rookie is also going to be going on tomorrow. We're going to have the rookie competition happening tomorrow as well on stage. You've seen some of the rookies that have been competing. They're looking really good. Let's take a quick look at the preview of what we can expect from the rookies here while we wait for our main stage and our Springboard event to be set up.
Thank you.
I'd love to be rookie champion again, but I don't think it's going to be that easy. There's 7 new guys, and I think they'll be coming in force, and it'll be interesting to see what they can do.
our Great British Rookie Championships of 2023. You're going to see 4 high-octane disciplines with the saws and the axes from some of our up-and-coming British talent.
One tiny mistake can change the outcome of everything here today.
This year we've got 7 new rookies in the mix, but Jack Morris is still the man to beat. Let's see how this pans out.
This competition is really hotting up. Everything they've worked for, months and months of sweat and tears, all that matters is this right now.
Wow, this is an incredibly close heat. This is going to come right down to the wire.
The winner, the champion for 2023, Jack the Hammer Morris!
I can't quite believe it, to be fair. To get that second title is just unbelievable, really. What's next for me? You might have to wait and see.
Okay, we've got more champions joining us in our STIHL studio now. Jack the Power Morris.
Jack the Rabbit, Jack Rabbit, Jack the Hammer. Pick a name.
Jack the Hammer, I think.
The Hammer. Well, we've seen some hammer-like stuff from you in recent times. You are the holder of all rookie records right now, and I know you won't rest on that. You are ready to go and primed for tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll definitely be looking to make the records even quicker, and I'm feeling pretty good for it as well.
We're not looking to push you here, but when are you looking to make that step up to pro level?
That will definitely be next year. This is definitely my last year in the rookies.
Yeah, so is that so you can let someone else have a go at winning?
Yeah, maybe.
Are you worried about any of the guys that are chasing you down? Because there's a lot of good talent that's out there in the rookie division this year. Are you looking at any of them going, I don't know, maybe?
Yeah, there's definitely a few guys that could push me, especially Zach. I train and chop with him a lot, and I know he's been working hard, so I've got to be on my best game to beat him, I think.
I know you rub shoulders and you train hard with a lot of the top pros as well, Jack. You're all good friends and you hang out a lot. So what have you learned from some of our top guys like Glen and Johnny Lewis?
To be around the likes of Glen, he's 2-time champion. To have his knowledge and be around him is just unbelievable, really.
All right, so we saw you helping out at the single buck. You helped us last year with the single buck, screaming our ears off. We're going to see, during the road shows sometimes that there are the people that come up and we asked Justine the same thing earlier, like what's the recommendation for somebody who wants to start out, but like just for my personal knowledge with the single buck, because I want to improve on that a little bit, what would you say that I should be doing here and focusing on, and what are the things that you do to train that single buck to make sure that you're really primed for it?
I think do the event as much as possible is a big thing, and then obviously your fitness is also a big thing.
All right, so let's take a look back at the review of our World Trophy from this season, where the guys were racing in 4 disciplines at the same time in some craziness, and then we'll get back to the action on stage shortly. Thanks very much, Jack Morris, for being with us.
Thank you.
You got to put together less than a minute sprint to be in the top placings. But then not just do it once. You got to do it 5 times.
The World Trophy is the toughest one physically.
Who doesn't want to lose? Who's willing to push themselves past the point where it's comfortable?
Het is definitief de härteste vorm van Timbersport die es gibt.
Sometimes I tell to myself, who asked me to do this? Because believe me, it's very, very hard.
Like 100%, no doubt about it. It's the toughest competition you can do. You got to push past the pain, and pain is only temporary.
It's something that I've learned to love.
What
With the World Trophy, I think it's an extremely tough event, and making sure you push yourself as hard as you can.
4 events in a row. You can't stop after each one and have a breath.
It's the transitions between each different event that the blood goes from one muscle to the other that makes it such a tough race.
Both of them looking good as they head over to the underhand chop, dead even with each other, and start those drivers at the same time. First done it, gone over to the single buck first. Now the pressure is on. Both of them dropped the cookie at the same time. So this could be a close battle between these two guys here. Almost dead even at the same time.
And the winner is All
right, here we go. Very quick start by Andrea Rossi. He's got a lot of support in the audience here. Kubitsky to the other side, Rossi to the other side. Now on to the single buck. Rossi is solid on single buck though. Kubitsky's got stuck at the bottom and he's finally through. Rossi over to the other side. Will he be able to catch up to Kubitsky? No, he's not going to do it. Kubitsky's too powerful.
The fingers were not completely over the line at the start, so that's a disqualification. So the winner is Andrea Rossi.
I'm sorry for Mikko, but this is the competition. I'm very happy. It's my best result in World Championship.
If you prepare well and you go on stage and you're confident in what you're doing, it goes a long way. There's so many little things just around the stage. She's just got to be smooth, you know.
Dead even start by both of these guys. That is skill right there. This could be a Rockettes to music if we really wanted to make it work that way. Short strokes and DeLosa has caught up with him almost. Advantage for Jordan. He slipped through. This is going to be...
When you're racing up there, you sense that it's a close race, you know, so I just wanted to see, exactly how close it was, because you don't really get to see that person finish when you do it, so.
Good start by Klima and Kogar, both of them looking good.
Semi-final round, I got to the back of underhand, and I was listening, I was like, there's no way there's a stock saw still running. I look over, it's mine. No, after that, I just slowed up a bit because I knew it was going to be disqualification anyway.
We have disqualification, so the winner is Matthias Klima.
Key to winning the World Trophy is just pure grit. You got to dig deep into the last moments. You know, you got to want it.
Who make the difference in the trophy is the mind, because you must be absolutely on the focus.
How much can you push your mind, and how does the body follow?
Brad DeLosa going up against Matt Kogar in this small final. Kogar cutting hard and fast, moving over to the other side. Matt Kogar looking good as he is almost at the bottom. Big bow on that missing trip. It's hit for both of these guys. Who's going to drop the first and take third place? It's going to be Matt Kogar. Matt Kogar takes third place in the competition. He will be your bronze medalist. And
Got the understanding of what it takes and how hard it actually is, the toughness it takes during the events and between the rounds to sort of get yourself up for the next event. I think that sort of certainly helps me.
This was the unexpected heat of the day.
No points, no double points, no triple points. I love it, not the round system. You have to just go head to head and KO the other one.
Here we go. It's the final heat here. He's got a good cut there as he heads over to the underhand chop. This is going to be a tight one here. Jack Jordan is very fast with that axe, but Matthias is definitely keeping up.
We all come here to win, so I guess it comes down to who makes the least mistakes and performs the best on the night, yeah.
I'm going for a win. I'm probably not the most favorite, but going for the win, that's the mindset.
And now Matthias Klima joins him on that single buck. Matthias trying to fight that saw through, you see. Jack Jordan is on the second side. Oh my God, could that be a world record? It's a new world record! Oh my goodness!
I'm pretty tired after that. I don't know if it's getting harder or I'm just getting older, but you know, it's great to come here and get the win, yeah.
All right, we saw a little glimpse there of the incredible tension, incredible atmosphere at Timber Sports around the world. Troy, you're lucky enough to go all over the place with timber sports, and you must have seen some incredible things, some great atmospheres.
I mean, the atmosphere is amazing. No matter when or where you have a STIHL Timber Sports event, if it's a local event, if it's a national event like we have here today, or if it's an international event like the World Trophy, or what's coming up, the World Championship at the end of the season, the atmosphere is always electric.
Where would you say ranks as the best atmosphere you've experienced in timber sports?
One of the absolute best ones, and I think we're going to actually see a clip of that shortly, is from the Czech Republic a couple of years ago, and I believe it was 2019. It was absolutely fantastic. The building, everything, it just really set the bar for the atmosphere. Let's take a look back at that.
It comes down to Mitch Argent and Shane Jordan battling hard on the standing block. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Australia or New Zealand? Oh my God, how close is this? And it's Australia!
The atmosphere last night and the team's relay was unreal.
That is their title of Team World Champion 2 years in a row.
Oh, definitely. It'd be the noisiest crowd I've competed against.
Shane Jordan's already over there.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of getting goosebumps thinking about it right now.
The crowds here, they were just erupting.
You feel the energy of the crowd.
My goodness, what a great comeback from Belgium with a time of 1.
The crowd was absolutely electric.
And it was so much noise and support.
Ja, doch, das pusht schon rum und mein Fanclub ist auch da.
Very passionate about their country and, yeah, the competitors.
Yeah, it feels super.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
It's pretty awesome to compete in front of a crowd like this.
But he's not giving up. He's looking good.
Like such an adrenaline rush. It's an amazing feeling.
They make a lot of noise, and that's good for our spirit. It's going to be the Czech Republic, and the crowd goes bananas. It's absolutely extreme here.
Vamos a get near.
Troy, this is our penultimate discipline, the springboard. This is a real leveler. Precision, technique, strength, you've got to have it all in this one.
Yeah, you really do need everything in the springboard. It is absolutely essential to be good here. So we call the hot saw the maker or the breaker, which is our last discipline. But in order to get to that discipline, you have to be on point here in the springboard, which is the one that's coming up. And this is going to determine who will manage to get into those top 6 positions. Before we get onto stage, let's take a quick look at the discipline springboard.
Springboard. Springboard simulates the traditional way of felling trees, climbing up over thick roots. First, notches known as pockets are chopped into the log. 2 springboards are then anchored into these pockets. The athlete then climbs up to chop through a 27-centimeter thick block of wood in the fastest time possible.
All right, so the stage is being set for our springboard. Heat 1 will be Andrew Gosling and Tom Redmond. Johnny Lewis and Graham Turner go off in Heat 2. Joe Groom, George Spencer in Heat 3. And then the ultimate battle, Rob Chatley in Heat 4 with Glen Penlington. Glen currently sitting top of our leaderboard, and he is the national record holder in this very event. Heat 1 sees Andrew Gosling and Tom Redmond take to the stand. They will take to the tree.
Yeah, again, so many things have to go right in this discipline. You have to get your pockets set quickly, and, well, you want to make sure those boards are holding in place properly. You don't want to be falling down from 2 meters up holding a razor in your hand. That's probably the worst situation we could have here. So really it's about making sure that you get your pockets set, get into position, and then can start working efficiently on that top block. Here we go.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
That's a 6-hit pocket for Tom Redmond as he gets that first board in place. No check at all. He's feeling confident about that. Got good angle on the board as he gets up there. Andrew, meanwhile, still working on that bottom pocket, so that's going to be something that's going to cause problems for him if he doesn't get that board in place and start getting up on top now. Tom doing a little house cleaning there. Give him a toothpick to clean up the rest of that stuff out of there and get that board in place. Setting that second board. This is the all-important board for Tom. Leaning on it, making sure that tooth does get purchased. He's going to reposition. He doesn't feel right about it. That one looks better. He'll step up on there, add a little bit of weight, give that tooth some grip, and now he'll start working on that top block here. This is a real important part now. Tom's got a good flat board, but he doesn't seem to be feeling super confident in it as he's not stepping all the way out with that back foot. So he's really using a lot more of his shoulders to do the hitting, and that's going to get him tired really fast. But he's looking good so far as he's chipping out some fairly nice pieces from that top block. Andrew's got that board flat in position already, so I believe it's going to sag fairly significantly once he does get out on there. He needs to feel good about that, so he's probably going to stay close to the block as he gingerly tries to get his axe free. Meanwhile, Tom, well deep into that first side. He should switch over to the second side fairly quickly, and here he goes. The awkward angle over to the other side, checking the time as we get down to the 1:40 mark here, and he should be through there in 2 or 3 more drivers. He got deep enough on that first side to give himself some space, but he's got a sticky block there as that axe keeps getting stuck in there. He's got to wedge it out. You got to be careful that he doesn't wrench that block off the top, though, as one more driver will do it. And 1:57.88 for Tom Redmond. Now, Andrew Gosling's got the trouble of being in the 2-minute mark here and starting to work on that top block. There is a time limit of 2 minutes 30 seconds to complete this discipline, and if he does not make 2 minutes 30 seconds, then it is a DQ for time out, and that board is sagging significantly here now for him. So, you know, he probably is not going to get there at the 25-second mark here. He's got good hits, though. He's got some nice chips coming out of that block. He just didn't get up there in a quick enough time, and that is unfortunately a DQ for time limit exceeded for Andrew Gosling. So Tom Redmond gets a 1:57.88. That's the time to beat at this point. Andrew Gosling with a DQ for time limit exceeded. And as I mentioned, very, very difficult discipline. There's a lot going on that has to go exactly right.
Okay, so we have a disqualification for exceeding the time limit. However, this cut is good.
All right, the first time is logged in for Tom Redmond. At the moment, he's holding those 16 points. How long that will last is anybody's guess as we take a look back at the start of them setting their pockets for this first board. Here you can see Andrew digging in there to try and get a good pocket, but it was just really a struggle for both these guys to get those second pockets set.
It seems to me, Troy, that Tom had a really good couple of pockets going there, and he had a bit of a cursory check on his second one. That cost him a bit of time as he got up to the top.
Yeah, I mean, his first pocket was a 6-hit pocket. I stayed silent and counted in my head as best I could, that was actually not a bad pocket, and it was a good board. When he got up there, it's pretty standard to see these guys sweep the pocket with their hand or try and pick out some material, because the last thing you want to have in there is any loose material when you set that board in. You want that tooth to really take hold and have purchase.
All right, heat 2 on the springboard. We have Johnny Lewis and Graham Turner.
So both of these guys have personal bests of over 2 minutes. So they're going to definitely want to put the pedal to the metal, as it were, here, and make sure that they really get going here. And Johnny is definitely motivated. He is currently, at the moment, sitting in 7th place among 8 guys, where we're only taking 6 athletes to the next round. So he needs to be on point here. Graham Turner, he's a little bit more safe here in 4th place prior to this discipline, so we'll see how he does and if he can get a good time locked down. Here we go.
Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Seven-hit pocket for Graham Turner. John Lewis up to 10 hits now, and they'll both set the boards in. Graham Turner's first board looks solid as he starts working to set that second pocket. John Lewis clambers up onto his first board to try and set that second pocket. One more driver there, maybe 2 for Graham. And John's got a good second pocket there set. Does a little bit of house cleaning, quick lean on it to make sure he's got himself set, and he is up onto that second board. Looks like he's feeling good with that back foot well out deep, and he can use that power now to really get into that board. Graham, meanwhile, up on his second board. His board looks very good as well. He's got that foot at the very back. So now they really have to give it some gas to get through that top block here. Johnny looking good, some nice big chips coming off of that block as well. And he's got plenty of power up top, and he seems confident. Oh, but his board is sagging a little bit, and now we see that it hopefully won't be slipping out. It is just sagging there, but that's a rough position because he's got to step forward and use more power from his upper body. The board for Graham Turner looks pretty good, though, staying in position solidly as he is trying to cut deep on that first side. Johnny's shimmying forward on his block, and Graham's is now starting to sag a little bit as well as we come to the 2-minute mark here. Coming in on it. John moving to the second side of his board, or his block at the top, trying to get through. Graham Turner still working on the first side. The awkward angle for John Lewis as he just passes the 2-minute mark here. Graham Turner moving over to the second side. Oh my goodness! The board goes out and John goes down. It looks like he's okay though. He's standing up right away. So he gives us a wave to the audience. He's okay, he's okay. That is a tough situation. Graham's cut through on both sides here, but he's gone back to the first side to see if he can get through it. He didn't like that awkward angle at the backside, and he does do it in 2:25.93. And that's gonna be a DNF for John Lewis as that whole piece of the tree actually exploded out. And that means they're probably going to need to replace that stand. The most important thing, though, is that John is okay. John, give us a wave if you're okay, buddy. Yep, there you go.
Yes, Johnny.
Well, at least he fell with style.
Okay, so we have a disqualification, didn't finish. However, this cut is good.
I mean, when Johnny does decide to hang up his axe and finish with Timbersports, he's got a new career as a stuntman. So I don't really want to see this fall in slow motion.
No, not at all. All right, taking a look here. There's Graham. That board looked really good for Graham, number one. And then he started taking time to get that second board in place. John was quite quick getting that second board in place. In fact, I believe that second pocket was probably the faster of the two pockets at 6 or 7 hits. And then he got up there on it. This is Graham getting up on the top of his. And we can see here, maybe we'll see what happened as John was working on the first side. I believe it started to peel out when he was on his second side of the block. And you can see John stepping forward on the board there because it was sagging a little bit. And here is, it's interesting because Graham went to the second side, did a few cuts on the second side and went back to the first side. And normally you see the guys cut through on the second side and finish their cuts there, but he opted to go back to the first side so that at least he had cuts on both sides. And there you see the board loose for Johnny. Luckily his feet were under him and he just managed to roll out of it going backwards, so no damage, hopefully. He gave us a wave afterwards to make sure that we knew that he was okay, but that's a heart-pounding moment when you're up 2 meters above the ground with an axe in your hand for all things, you know?
Yeah, luckily no lumberjacks were harmed in the chopping of this springboard. Troy, you talked about getting up to the top, and then when you get that second board in and it starts to sag, you've really got to work. You've got to work from the upper body, and you've got to do that overarm chop, and it's
really difficult. I mean, when you're up there, if you've got the ability to step back on the board, then you can really use a push off of your leg. You can rotate your hips through the driver, and you can utilize more of your body to cut that top block and be a bit more efficient, a bit faster. When the block starts, or when the board starts to sag, you move forward on the board, so you're closer to the block. So if you were the block, that's me trying to hit like this instead of trying to hit from way out here. So it's a big difference. So if you can get a really good top board and have your position exactly the way you need it to be so that you can feel confident with your back foot farther out on the board, then you're more efficient with your drivers against that top block, thereby being a little bit faster.
Yeah, and do you think this event suits the smaller guys, the thicker set pocket rockets?
Yeah, it's safe to say that, but there are big guys that are very good at this event. And I mean, we've seen that throughout the history of timber sports, in particular steel timber sports. There are Austrians, there are Polish guys, there are Dutch guys, German guys that are big boys that can crawl up those boards. They look like cats when they're moving around on those boards, and they're very confident. And it's just by virtue of having a really good pocket and making sure they're in a good position. So it's not necessarily just the discipline of a small man. A big man can do it. He's just got to be a little bit different in how he sets his pocket is all.
Okay, really interesting. Thanks for your insight. We've got two of our championship contenders to come in Heat 4, which will be Rob Chatley and Glen Penlington. Before that, we've got Joe Groom and George Spencer, two markedly different athletes in style. They're coming up in Heat 3. But as we settle the stage, we're going to go to a short commercial break to show you some of our STIHL products.
If you're after a cordless chainsaw that's lightweight, simple to operate and packed full of useful features, the new MSA 60 CB or MSA 70 CB fit the bill. Part of our AK system, these two new models are upgraded versions of the popular MSA 120 CB and MSA 140 CB models, and include a few handy improvements that make preparing firewood and pruning tasks around the garden even easier. As well as the new design, a new ergo lever on the back handle has been added for even greater comfort. The trigger system has also improved, meaning you have maximum control over the speed of the chain. If you're cutting around delicate shrubs or working on an intricate woodworking project, you'll always be in full control. Finally, the chain oil level can be seen more clearly, making it obvious when it's time for a top-up. Both saws come with a 12-inch guide bar and our thinnest 1.1mm Pico Micro 3 saw chain. As well as being energy efficient and low vibration, this chain also produces a super smooth finish on the wood, making it ideal for woodworking projects. It's important to keep the chain in good condition. For effective sharpening, we recommend the 2-in-1 Easy File as it's easy to use. The file sharpens the cutting tooth and files down the depth gauge at the same time, so it produces a great cutting result every time. Tensioning the chain can be done without any tools using the quick chain tensioning system. Simply lift the lever, loosen the sprocket cover and turn the thumb wheel to loosen or tighten the chain. As well as being lightweight, the central positioning of the battery means the MSA 60 and 70 are well balanced and compact too. The rear handle has a rubberized coating for grip, and the quick stop chain brake is within easy reach of the front handle. So what's the difference between the MSA 60 and MSA 70? The design of both are similar, but the MSA 70 is the more powerful model. The MSA 60 is recommended with the AK20 battery, whereas the MSA 70 is recommended with the AK30 and has 25% more cutting performance than the MSA 60, allowing you to get the job done even quicker. You need to use the AK30 to get full power from the MSA 70. All our AK batteries have a charge level indicator, and the battery transport position means you can move the saw around the garden without the risk of the battery falling out or the machine being live. Thanks to the versatility of the AK system, the battery can be popped out of the chainsaw and used in a wide range of other tools such as grass trimmers, mowers, blowers, and many more. Maintaining a cordless chainsaw is significantly easier than a petrol machine. For the best performance from your machine, always keep the chain sharp, keep the chain oil topped up using an oil such as our Forest Plus chain oil, and keep the underside of the sprocket cover free from sawdust buildup. Replacement chains, guide bars, and chain oil are all available from STIHL approved dealers. Always read the manual before using any chainsaw, and make sure you use the correct personal protective equipment. With a cordless chainsaw, you should be wearing cut protective trousers or chaps like these, chainsaw boots or wellies, eye protection, and gloves. If you're cutting branches that extend above head height, we'd recommend wearing a helmet too. To find out more about our AK system cordless chainsaws, please visit stihl.co.uk or your nearest STIHL approved dealer.
Okay, so the stage is being primed and ready for the last two remaining heats in our springboard discipline.
Tension is mounting as well because it's 4 remaining athletes that have to battle here in order to get to 6 remaining spots as we move towards the last round. It's going to be hot.
We get down to 4 athletes. You've got to be looking at an eye on the trophy, on the championship.
Definitely, they'll be keeping a close eye on that trophy.
Okay, so we have a World Championships to look forward to. Not only a trophy on the line, a place at the World Championships, Troy.
Yep, absolutely. The World Championships coming up the 8th and 9th of November in Toulouse in France. And just to give you a little taste of what you can expect from that, let's have a look at this quick teaser. All right, there we are with the 3 Counties Fairgrounds. The bumper cars in the background. I used to love that as a kid. Actually, I'm still a big kid. I love that. It's super fun having a good time on those things. A Ferris wheel. I think the fair has grown this year, hasn't it, from last?
There's certainly more to chuck yourself around.
Yeah.
Including our stage.
Absolutely. Our stage has been throwing people around a little bit this weekend. It's very true.
How's your time been with us so far, Troy?
Fantastic. I always love coming here. We have our glamping set up in the background. It's an adventure every single time. It's either hot or it's freezing cold or it's wet and muddy. And you have to enjoy those moments every time as well. Yeah. It's lovely, and I will take it every day of the week if I could.
Yeah, it's hot, it's wet, it's muddy, it's sunny, it's all those things in a 20-minute period.
Yeah, it's almost like being up in the high alpine regions in Europe somewhere, you know, where the weather can change on a dime. As we see Rob Chatley setting his block. That'll be actually the block that Rob Chatley will be working on in his springboard. So making sure that that top block is secured in place with those long screws. And once it all is in place, then we will have free rein to let these guys go for it. So you can see it does take a little bit of time to get these stands repositioned and reset up with new blocks on the top for the next set of heats. And it does take a little bit. We appreciate the patience of our viewing audience and the live audience that's here as well.
Is this normal, Troy, for the athletes to set the block like this themselves?
Yes, absolutely. The athletes are required to set the block in there themselves because they know the block, they've chosen the block, and they have the marking set on the block already and how they're going to go up the tree to get to cut it. So they want to have where their markings are on the block in the position that they want to be in when they reach the top of the tree. So it looks like we are good to go on stage, and our next two athletes that will come out will be Joe Groom and George Spencer battling in the tree.
And as you mentioned already, Troy, we've got 8 athletes currently in competition in the springboard, and we will wind down to 6 at the end of this discipline.
Correct. So this is the last discipline in round 2. We've been through round 1, which was the underhand chop, stock saw, and standing block chop. Round 2 began with the single buck and now is ending with the springboard. And round 3 will be our motor saw and gas heads round, the hot saw, and only 6 of the remaining 8 athletes here will have a chance to compete there, where 18 points are up for grabs.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
That's an 8-hit pocket for Joe Groom. That's about 10 hits for George. Joe's got a good board. He feels confident up there by the looks of it. George as well. He got up there quick. Both of them working on that second pocket now. They want to get those set as quickly as possible, and we may see good times for both of these guys here today. Joe doing a little house cleaning with his fingers. George still looking for the position, and both of them put their axes up high and set their second boards at about the same time. Who's got the solid board will be up there first. It's going to be, Joe's not feeling 100% there. And he is up now on his board, and there goes George onto his board. Good angle on both of them, no sag at all, so they start that top block at the same time. This could be a good heat between these two gentlemen. As we've just passed the 1 minute mark, and we see some faster times today for both of them. They've got to get through there in under 2 minutes 30, and they're both working hard on that top block. Remember, they have to cut through from 2 sides of that board. Both of them hit for hit with each other. Joe a little bit more power, but he got that stuck in there because of too much power. They're going to go deep on that first side and switch to the ugly angle on the second side. George looking good, Joe looking good as well. Just reaching the 1 minute 40-second mark here. They're really taking their time on those top blocks. Good chips flying out for both of them though, heading towards our audience here, the live audience, giving support as well. It's looking like it's coming close to one or both of them switching to the awkward side. Passing the 2 minute mark, 30 seconds to go for both of them. Ooh, that looked like a little bit scary there for George, as he almost looked like he was going to come down off that board. Both boards still looking good for them. Joe is on that second side, and now so is George. Some sticky axes there for both of these guys. George opting to stay on that first side, and oh, that came ever so close. Did he get it down in time? Joe Groom, it looked like it was just at the 29 mark, maybe went to 30 as that block came down. That might be photo finish, and unfortunately for George, it is not going to happen, and that's a DQ for timeout. So at the moment, Joe Groom's line here on our computer screen is telling us also DQ, but it might come down to a video check at the end. We will see. And I hope for his sake that we don't have a DQ there. We'll get the final call from Andy Hall as he comes up to the decision zone at stage front.
Okay, so we've made a check with the video timing. Both competitors are disqualified for exceeding the time limit.
That is a bummer for both George Spencer and Joe Groom, who will take no points away from this discipline at all. So far it's only Tom Redmond and Graham Turner who have managed to get points in the springboard. And both of them looked very good though. The boards that they put in place were excellent. Their pockets didn't take mega long. So it was just that top block that was just causing problems. This is George setting his second pocket, and you can see a little bit of a check by Joe, and then he gets up on top of there. George was right there with him. Both of them looked really confident on their boards. They were both right out to the back end of their board, so they looked clean and solid up there as they were going on that top block. It was too long on the top block. And it really did come down to just milliseconds for Joe Groom as he went to that second side and started cutting through. And then right there, it was just over the time by the slightest amount. And unfortunately for him, when they did do competition control center check, it was over the time.
Okay, the final two athletes in our springboard discipline at this year's British Pro Championships 2024. Before we get 8 athletes down to 6, we have former champ Rob Chatley and the reigning 2-time champ taking the stand, Glen Penlington.
So you
asked
me earlier about you know, the different body sizes and the advantages here, and you know, here's a perfect example of 2 guys that are very adept at this discipline, and both guys have absolutely different shapes. You know, Rob is a big, strong man,
gentlemen.
and Glen is a strong man, but he is slighter.
Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Glen is our national record holder in this discipline with a time of 1 minute 3 seconds, and it's that cat-like agility I love seeing from Glen up this tree.
Yeah, and Glen's already up on his first board. Rob is right there with him, though. I think that was about a 5-hit pocket for Glen, 6-hit pocket for Rob, setting those second pockets in position now. Wow, that was a quick second pocket for Glen. This is looking very good for him as he tests that board, gets that tooth in position, and now gets that axe moving on the top block. Rob's got his cleaned out, boards in place, and he'll step up onto there now and start working on that top block. But that was a great jump up onto that top board in under a minute for Glen Penlington, so he should be there fairly quickly through that block. Rob working on the top of his now. Both boards looking excellent for these 2 gentlemen. And this is going to be a determining factor about how many points go into the next round. Rob's got some big chunks hanging in the way. He does a little house cleaning up there as well. Glen Penlington, meanwhile, looking very good as he switches over to the awkward angle, and he'll go down, up, and start getting through that to get some material out of the way. Rob, meanwhile, still working on that first side. He's got a lot of wood that he's got to cut through, and we're getting into some dark material in there behind, and that is done and dusted for Glen Penlington. Very, very nice time of 1:23.39. He has been faster, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt today because he has the fastest time on the springboard, and he is well on his way to repeating as the champion. He's still got to get through that hot saw, and there's still some other competitors that want to take him down as well. Rob, meanwhile, getting towards the 2-minute mark here, as he's trying to get some of that gunk out of the way. It's just hanging on for dear life. And we are now at 2 minutes for Rob. He's going to want to switch to that backside fairly soon. Remember, 2 minutes 30 is the limit. He should be able to do it. And he's on the backside now, so he's going to be working there with 15 seconds to go. Hopefully he can get that down in under the time. 10 seconds to go with a very sticky wicky axe. Oh, it's going to be close now. Is he going to be able to do it? No, unfortunately not. That is time exceeded for Rob Chatley, and that is going to be done, and he's going to drop that block anyway, and that's some disappointment right there. Those blocks at the top have been difficult all weekend long for all of our athletes. So kudos to the guys who have managed to get times on this springboard.
Okay, so we have a disqualification for exceeding the time limit. However, this cut is good.
All right, so Glen Penlington with the fastest time in Springboard, Tom Redmond with the second fastest, and Graham Turner with the third fastest. The remaining guys have no points in this one, so we're going to take a look at the highlights here. I mean, those first pockets were excellent. They were fantastic for both of these guys. They were quite quick. I mean, Glenn was really fast getting up there. His second pocket, I think, was maybe a maximum of 5 hits. I'll ask him about that later because I wasn't counting, but I'm pretty sure it was a quicker of the two pockets. He got that board in place, and it was a beautiful board. You know, there was no sag at all. And you could see his foot was about as close as it can get to the back end of that board, and he just really did a great job on the top there. Rob was having trouble. That axe kept getting stuck in there. He's got so much power, and he's putting it to the block, and then it gets stuck in there, and then you got to wrench it out of there to try and get the axe moving again. And you can see here is where Glenn switched his position over to the backside. And again, not his fastest time, but under the circumstances, he'll definitely take getting a time here in this discipline. 1:23.14 for Glen Penlington, and unfortunately, you can see the disappointment right there as Rob pushes the board off. And let's take a look at the standings.
Yeah, let's see how things have come out in the wash, and the points notch up a bit as well. There's 16 points up for grabs for the leader and the winner of the Springboard discipline. Those 16 points go to Glen Penlington. Tom Redmond takes 14 points, and just about in the money with 12 points, Graham Turner. And that sets us up nicely now in our overall standings. Unfortunately, we're going to lose two athletes, Andrew Gosling and Johnny Lewis. Great performances today, but not quite enough to finish in our top 6, which we'll see Joe Groom, George Spencer, Tom Redmond, Rob Chatley, Graham Turner, and Glen Penlington proceed into the final discipline, the Hot Saw Troy.
Now, interesting, we saw Graham Turner. He was about 5th place in the overall standings prior to the Springboard. Because he did clock a time in the Springboard, he has jumped up massively in the overall standings and now is currently sitting in 2nd place behind Glen Penlington and just ahead of Rob Chatley, who was disqualified in that last one. So it really can happen that anything can happen during this competition, especially with the Springboard being the way it is. And now we've got ourselves wide open for the Hot Saw, where it's not necessarily all to play for, but some major mistakes can happen, and we could see another change in the overall standings at the Hot Saw. So it's going to be very interesting because the Hot Saw really is the maker or the breaker. Let's check out the tool and discipline and what it is about this that the athletes love to hate.
These custom handmade race-tuned machines are built for maximum power and precision and to cut the wood as fast as possible in a competition. They are built with a 60 to 80 horsepower single-cylinder 2-stroke engine, often taken from a snowmobile or high-powered motorbike. The Hot Saw can weigh up to 30 kilograms and its chain rotates at over 250 kilometers an hour. The cost of a competition Hot Saw used in STIHL Timbersports is upward of €6,000. Hot Saw. For the Hot Saw, power saws are called into action and the athletes have a space of 15 centimeters to cut 3 complete discs off a 46 centimeter thick wooden block. Jumping the start or cutting over the line will result in a disqualification. This is the one and only discipline where the athletes are alone on stage.
Yeah, probably the most important event, but yeah, also the most frustrating.
These saws are so incredibly powerful and dangerous.
Usually the Hot Saw is the slider. Hot Saw, Hot Saw. I can't describe to you when we're out there under pressure.
Saw starts well, first disc looks solid, cut is good.
You know, you're always ending the competition on a hot saw, so you know where you're going to be at when you finish. So you're either at a real big high or just is what it is.
Nice clean cuts, easy, relaxed.
Der Hot Saw ist für mich die geilste Disziplin der Welt.
5, 6, 8, Robert Ebner, 3 on the deck.
Hot saw is a love-hate for me. I honestly don't get that much enjoyment out of it. I'm not a motorhead. I swallow my pills and eat it.
Once the competition comes, anything can happen. Oh no, a false start by Sterling Hart. What a disaster.
Yeah, it was a disappointment for me. Happens though, it's part of competing.
I saw there's 3 good discs there, but then let that nose come right up underneath the crossover line.
Fortunately, a disqualification.
It all relies on the hot saw.
Oh no.
Irgendwie soll es einfach nicht sein. Und dann springt die Hot Saw nicht an, wieder mal.
Oh man, that is a bummer for Robert Ebner.
What are you taking away from this event?
Oh, probably last place. I don't know, headache. Yeah, shit hot saw. What else do you want?
If you have bad luck or if you did wrong, it's part, just your experience.
Oh my goodness, what an absolute disaster, the chain came off.
I was not disappointed because everybody see that I can be with the guys in front.
It was a bit of a disaster, so it was just operator error, and I didn't perform as well as I would have liked to.
Nice safe cut.
Oh no! Oh no!
Never prepared for that situation, but luckily I started and I've got 3 wheels and now I'm the world champion.
Yeah, it's the make or break event, you know.
I think you love it and you hate it.
Das ist eigentlich immer ein geiles Ding. Ich schneide immer sehr sicher.
Oh, great start for both of these guys. Look at how quick it's going for Robert Ebner. Oh my God, Robert Ebner, he's got a world record. Holy smokes, folks.
Ich wollte das Ding heimbringen, ich wollte Weltrekord schneiden und ich danke meiner Familie zu Hause und alle, die mich unterstützt haben.
Just try to make 3 good cuts and no disqualification.
The hot saw is where it's all one, so that's the best event.
Okay, so then there were 6 athletes. These are our top pro men's athletes of 2024 into the final discipline, the hot saw. We have Joe Groom, George Spencer, Tom Redmond, Rob Chatley, Graham Turner and Glen Penlington fighting it out to become our pro champion of 2024. And the final throws in Heat 1, final roll of the dice, starts with Joe Groom and George Spencer.
Yeah, look at those beasts on stage, hey? And I'm not talking about our cameramen either. Those are the saws that they will use. 35, up to 35 kilos, the chain turning at 240 kilometers per hour. There is power for days in those saws. Not something that you're going to use to cut your average everyday tree, but it'll do the job.
In a matter of seconds.
Yeah, in a matter of seconds. Now, each of these guys will have, a lot of the times, they will have their own saws, and you'll see the individuality in their own saws. So George Spencer's saw, you could see the yellow bar on it. You could see the angle of the handle he's got there is a little bit different. You could see the foot that he's got underneath it will place the saw in a different angle compared to some other guys.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your saws. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Ho! National record. George Spencer, 7:39. Fantastic. Both of these guys under a minute. What a run from George Spencer, though. That was loud and proud right there. And a new national record in hot saw, but we have a flag on the play. Oh, no.
Don't spoil the party.
Ay, ay, ay. Is that a cut line? They're going to double check it. I really hope he's okay with this one because that would be a fantastic run. Joe Groom with an amazing 9:09. Wow. That was a couple of cuts right there, folks. Let's see what the judges have to say here.
Okay, so we have a disqualification for a cut line. However, this cut is good.
Oh, man. A heartbreaker for George Spencer, who had a fast time, would have been a national record, but he cut over the line.
Make or break.
Make or breaker. That just broke George Spencer's heart.
He could have gone back stage with 2 national records today and a whole load of points because that would have really propelled him up that leaderboard.
Look at this cut. That first cookie, thin to win. Beautiful. Drops it nicely. Second was great. And he overcompensated right there and went over the line at the 15-centimeter mark. Oh, that is a rough go for George Spencer. Look at how thin with scissors it is for Joe Groom, though. Wow. That was a beautiful cut.
Whoa.
That one was a bit of a monster right there. So he had to really be careful on this third cut going down. But beautiful cut, nevertheless, got very close to the edge on the bottom. But he had 3 cookies on the deck. And that is thin to win in the ultimate sense of the word.
I think we've got a new nickname for Joe Groom, the Cookie Monster.
The Cookie Monster, absolutely. And after adjustment, it's a personal best, 8.93 for him. Good job.
All right, 2 more British monsters onto the stage. Tom Redmond and Rob Chatley vying for that British Championship title. Can they take it? This is where the tension ramps up. You can feel the heart beating in your chest. Mega points on the line. Tom's taking it all in his stride, though, as per usual.
Yeah, chill as ever. Tom Redmond, Rob Chatley, a couple of guys with plenty of experience. They know what needs to be done. So in a second, they'll get to warm up their saws. We'll step back and let them make the noise, make their cuts, and then we'll come back with reaction. You can see the final cuts there by Rob Chatley. Tom Redmond positioning, last lift and checks, and then we'll get those saws revved and rolling. Oh, the tension is mounting, it's insane. Is that my heartbeat or the music?
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your saws. Thirty seconds. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, Rob Chatley with an 8.85, Tom Redmond with a 10.58 personal best, both excellent times.
So far, so good. They're checking the discs now to make sure everything is fair. I think we got thumbs up across the board. No flag on the play so far.
This is going to be really
congratulations. Both cuts are good.
There we go.
Now this will be really interesting with Rob Chatley's time there to see if, come the final reckoning, that can propel him into first place. But Glen Penlington, our reigning two-time champion, is still to cut, and it's all on the line. The currency is cookies. If Glen can keep that steely determination and that focus in check, could he be our champion once again, 3 in a row?
Absolutely possible. The only guy that can do any damage at this point, though, is Graham Turner, who is in that last heat with Glen. So we won't jinx the situation, but it is still a possibility for Graham Turner to have a championship title here, but he's got to get past Glen Penlington first. We can take a look at these cuts here from Rob Chatley. That was a beautiful set of cuts. Very well done, and Tom Redmond getting himself a personal best in that one as well with a 10.44. Great job.
So this, the final heat, the final discipline now of the Great British Championships, and you saw there momentarily the personal best that both these athletes have in this hot saw event, and they are absolutely rapid. Graham's personal best, a time of 9.08. Glen's a rapid 8.3 seconds. So we're expecting big things, we're expecting quick times, we're expecting noise. It's all to come here. The British title is on the line for 2024.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your saws. Seconds. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, wow. Look at that. Glen Penlington with a new personal best, 8:15. Graham Turner with a 9:24. Quick check on everything to make sure it's all good. No flags on the play. The intensity is definitely there, though.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Glen Penlington gets it with an 8:01 personal best. Graham Turner, his time was adjusted to a 9:05. That's a personal best as well for him, so great job for them. And that means Graham Turner will be on the podium along with Rob Chatley and Glen Penlington. Look at these cuts again, though, in the replay. Wow, those machines were loud.
This guy, Troy, Glen Penlington, he's got ice in his veins. Today, you know, of the 6 disciplines we've seen Glen take part in, he's won 5 of them, the full points in each of the 5, and he's got a personal best in an event where, arguably, he could have gone for a stroll in the park, took it easy, but he just pulled all the stops.
He went for it.
He went for it, personal best.
He is Mr. Consistency, and there you see Graham's cuts. He got close to the line on that 3rd cut, but he stayed in there and got himself a personal best. Great job by these guys. So let's take a look at the hot saw results here.
Yeah, incredible. Just Glen cementing why he is our British champ with a personal best and the full 18 points in the hot saw. Great efforts as well from Rob Chatley, Joe Groom. You can see there the fine margins and the differences, but the big points that come with them as well. So Rob takes 15, Joe Groom 12, Graham, as you mentioned, Troy, you take 9 points away from this event. Tom Redmond will take 6, and the leaderboard, the final results are in 6th place, George Spencer, so unlucky, he would have set a national record, 32 points. And 5th place, Joe Groom, Troy.
All right, so yeah, you see Joe Groom in 5th place there, Tom Redmond, 45 points in 4th place. Graham Turner with a great turnout today in 3rd place with 57 points, only 1 point less than Rob Chatley in 2nd place with 58 points. And Glen Penlington, how does he do it? Consistency, quality, skill, ability, adaptability, the whole bit, he's all there. 82 points for him, a full day of winning nearly everything. Glen Penlington is your champ once again with 82 points. And we are going to send it over to Alex on the main stage shortly for our awards ceremony and last interviews. Folks, what a day we've had here today. It has been absolutely fantastic. And that stage is ready for the introductions of our top 3 as well.
All right, thanks so much for joining us here in Malvern for the Great British Championships, our men's event of 2024. Some amazing, incredible action here on this stage. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we're going to welcome back each of our athletes out onto the stage to take their due applause from our great British public. So, here we go. First up, onto the stage, we have Ben Chapman. Harry Trotman. John Sunstall. Medwin Jones. Andrew Gosling. Congratulations to all our athletes taking part today. Johnny Lewis. Good to see you back on your feet, Johnny. Next up, national record holder today, national record setter, George Spencer. Amazing efforts today from Joe Groom. Now in 4th place today, wonderful, amazing achievements from Tom Redmond. And we are into our podium places now. Please give it up in 3rd place. And their medals will be presented by our marketing team from STIHL GB. Give it up for Graham Turner. Back on our podium in 2nd place today, our Great British runner-up, Rob Chatley. And our 2024 men's Great British champion, 3 in a row. The hat trick is complete. Mr. Glen Penlington. Once again, let's give it up for all our athletes and, of course, our 2024 Great British champion, Glen Penlington. Okay, here's the fun part and the wet part. Just making sure it's extra bubbly.
No, those guys won't be smelly later.
I'm going to have to grab Glen for interview now. Right, Glen, just before you start enjoying the champagne and you're drying off, listen, there was 5 top finishes in 6 disciplines today, Glen. Just when we didn't think you could get any better, you've excelled yourself. And in those final 2 events, I mean, the Springboard, it's an absolute privilege to watch you get up there. And the hot saw, dare I say, you could have taken it easy and you posted a personal best. Talk us through your day, Glenn.
Yeah, the hot saw was still, there's a couple of shaky trying to start it there, so I was a bit worried about that. But yeah, good to get a PB, and I wasn't expecting at all to win 5 events today. So yeah, thanks George for winning the stock saw though.
Listen, Glenn, I know you train. Do you spend more time on the axe or with the saws?
This last 6 months, I've probably done a little bit more work with the saws, just trying to get those events a bit weaker. I've sort of known as someone that is better with the axe really, and then I've just worked on those other events a bit. So yeah, it's been good, and then yeah, we'll go on again.
Yeah, you can definitely see the work's paid off. I mean, personal best in that last event. I can't express enough how impressive that was for you to post that. All eyes now on the Worlds in Toulouse in November. Thoughts ahead of that?
Yeah, hopefully hopefully I can get to the top individual stage this time. I've got to be in the top 8 in Europe in that ranking. So hopefully I can achieve that this time. I think I've posted some all right times. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, hopefully I'll be a part of Team GB again, and we can do some good results again.
I know chopping and sawing and timber sports is a massive part of your life. You've got family and loved ones here. Any messages to them? Because I know they've supported you all the way through your career ever since you were a nipper, picking up an axe for the first time.
Yeah, big thanks to Dad. He's done the majority of my axes. He's been there. I was texting him backstage, going, "What do you think I should do here? What should I do here?" And he's always been there to support me. And my mum was cool, of course. Everyone can probably hear her cheering in the crowd. She's no, it's not a birthday. Their birthdays are Monday and Tuesday, so yeah. And good luck to Zoe and Georgia tomorrow as well. So they're competing in the ladies, and also Zach and Jack. They're like little brothers for me. So good luck to them as well.
Yeah, incredible. It's a family affair. Listen, you are our champ 3 times in a row, my friend. Amazing achievement. We wish you all the very best, and worthy winner, and enjoy the celebrations this evening, Glenn.
Thank you. Cheers, everyone.
Once again, our Great British Champ of 2024. Round of applause, please, for the one and only Glen Penlington. All right, Troy. That culminates our Great British Championship 2024. How's it been for you, sir?
Well, I got to tell you, it's been an awesome championship to watch these guys improve and get there's personal best dropping across the board. It was fantastic, and you can see how the action is stepping up every single time they get out there on the stage. So it's looking very good for British timber sports down the road. So that is it for today. Don't forget, tomorrow we will have the live stream of our Rookie British Championship as well as our Women's British Championship. Make sure you tune in for that, because we'll also see Glenn's sister Zoe competing tomorrow as well, along with a plethora of fantastic athletes looking to take the top spot. In the meantime, we hope you guys out there enjoyed our live stream of the British Pro Men's Championship individual here today. Until next time, take care, everybody. We're out to the highlights and off to eat some dinner. See ya.